This is Half Rate Heroes. I'm Katie Quixotic, the DM. We're excited to be back on this probably slightly chilly for most people Saturday morning, and I will let everyone introduce themselves.
Hi, I'm Carl, and I'm playing Lefcadio Whitehorn, the Tabaxi Warlock.
Hi, I'm Vinny. I play Kale, the cleric, who is half elfin.
I'm Casey, KCH on socials. I am playing the Azamar Hobgoblin Champion Time Warrior Pillar of the Plains Heckler, Big Fire Chicken, Shiva Fight Storm, Slayer of Shadows, Nos, the boss of Neverwinter.
Wee!
Yee.
Hey guys, I am John. I am the Dwarf of Marabar, Master of the Axe, Enemy of the Drow, Traveler of the Plains, Destroyer of Shadows, and Deliverer of Certain Death. I am the Wampum Thunderbelly.
I'm Taslin. I'm Graham Crackers, or Graham, you can call me whatever, I don't care. I play Taslin Evrio, your friendly Shatterkai Necromancer.
And that's the Half Rate Heroes. And yeah, who would like to do the recap? I feel like Graham should probably do part of it at least. But okay. You're being voluntold.
Okay.
No, I'm kidding.
Okay, where to start? So the party went to Mirabar to have some time and fun. The Yuletides were upon us, and we're in it for the long run. Nos and Wampum and Lefcadio to the bar did go. They started a fight, and that was right. And then they said, let's go. Nos fell asleep. Lefcadio held her hand. Wampum hugged his mom. And Taslin roamed the land. Taslin walked alone, went to a library or so, met a scary lady, and touched another curse item. Taslin ran to the Temple of Saloon, called Kale and said, "What's up?" Kale said, "Give me a moment. I'll be right there. I hate you." And then, yeah, then they went to the temple, and Kale saved Taslin again, like usual. And yeah, am I forgetting something or a lot? I'm bad at this.
No. That was so great, and I appreciate the rhymes. And I have to ask now, though, towards the end, were you purposely not rhyming when you could have to be funny?
Oh, no, I just don't think that fast.
Okay, no, because like, Saloon and Kale said he'll be there, and I hate you. I was like, soon, clearly, right? Okay, and the reason why I ask, because the first part was so deftly rhymed, and if you don't already have DM inspiration, you definitely get DM inspiration for that. There's if you've ever played Child of Light, which is a really fun local 2-player co-op video game, or single player, the entire thing is written in verse, and there is one character who can't rhyme. She always picks the wrong word, and everybody around her is always like, "I think you meant to say," and then they pick the obvious rhyming word. And eventually they get really, like, frustrated with her that she's, like, not speaking properly, basically. And, yeah, anyway, it was, that was really funny to me. So I thought that was some sort of, like, homage, because, anyway. Yeah, so.
Yes, Carl, you have a question.
A statement more to the point that, again, our very generous viewer, Fool, has granted the players with viewer inspiration with his, again, very generous gift of 1,000 bits. Thank you, Fool.
Hi, Kate. Who's in class and can't watch. Thank you for being here. Yeah, so another inspiration for everybody. I think we're going to end up, like, reaching the top of the screen for some of you who get in slightly less trouble than the others. So I guess we'll pick up then where Kale, yeah, you're asleep. Lefcadio and Nas are asleep. Wampum is asleep. Taslin has had a long soak. What are you going to do after your bath, Taslin?
Taslin, after his bath, grumbled a little bit, and he probably like had his invisible servants make him food, and then he proceeded to not eat the food or like pick at it and be like, ugh. And then he went into a room that was like 5 king-size beds, like right one after the other, and he goes into like the center of them and just like sleeps. Super luxurious. It's like a downy mattress.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's a magnificent mansion, of course.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Who doesn't have a room just for beds?
Bedroom.
Peasants. Yeah. So, is anybody going to? I know there was some like nighttime activity. If everyone's just planning to sleep through the night or continue rest trancing through the night, then we'll just pick up in the morning with what you all would like to do. Let's start with Wampum. You wake up in the morning. You're at home. You feeling good?
Yes, I walk down. Mama's already cooking breakfast.
Mm-hmm. What's your favorite breakfast?
Meat.
Yep. Okay. A specific preparation. Like, does she have like Mama's special honey glazed ham and eggs with like salt and like a special Mirabar spice, or is it just like I want this roasted?
Nice big biscuits with bacon grease gravy.
Yeah.
All over them. Pepper. And then big slabs of ham laid on top of them.
Speaking to my Texas heart right now. Biscuits and gravy. Absolutely. Huge fluffy biscuits. It takes an entire plate for each biscuit. It's like they're almost made in like the skillet biscuit type things. They're massive. And she's got a place setting for everyone already set up and ready to go in the like dinner table. You know, like there's smaller tables where you might have other meals, but this is like the dinner table where everyone can be accommodated. And she's finishing up. She'll be finished with breakfast in probably like 10 minutes or so. So as you come in and she's finishing up the last of taking the biscuits out, and she's like mixing up the gravy all fresh, and she's got the pepper cracker back there ready to like grind it, pepper grinder back there ready to like make fresh pepper. She's like, oh, good morning.
I'll walk over and give her a kiss on her forehead.
My sweet boy. I'm so glad you're home.
Me too. We ought to make this more frequent.
I agree. It's been nice. It's been very nice. Why don't you go get your friends, and I'll be ready in just a few minutes.
Do I have to?
You could eat this all by yourself, I know.
Uh-huh.
I mean, if you want to leave them to fend for themselves, I'm not going to deny you.
I'll go get them. Wampum will go make all kinds of noise, waking everybody up.
So go ahead, yeah.
I wake up on the bone dais underneath the blanket that Mama T gave me. Mm-hmm. And I find that I am the big spoon to Lafcadio's little spoon. I'm just like, ow. And then I'll immediately go for my water skin, drain the rest of that, and then kind of nudge the cat man. I'll get right up into his ear. Lafcadio.
Right, I'm up. What are you doing?
We're smells like we're eating.
All right, help me up.
Do. He goes a little higher than he should. He kind of comes off the ground a little bit. And then I'll immediately turn and make a beeline to the nearest source of water in order to get more.
The nearest source of water, I'm trying to decide whether the water that the swords are quenched in is the nearest. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Yeah. Inside, of course. I don't know. Do you have like an outside, like, where do you normally get your water from? Wampum? Is there like one of those outside, like, well pump things?
Actually, all of the dwarves in this complex have their own little well inside.
Okay, there you go. So it is a well inside. You could just pump water right into you if you would like.
Sounds good to me.
Okay, yeah. It's one of those like I would imagine it being like there's like rocks on the ground so that can catch the water runoff, and that probably like filters out to some area where like maybe some like small garden is or whatever. So it's like not wasting the water. There's like a runoff sort of thing, so it takes care of itself. So you could literally just like lay there and like pump it on you.
Yeah.
Perfect. Kale, you hear some like crashing or something sounds going on about inside the house, or maybe outside a little bit too. It disturbs your sleep, but it's not necessarily like so loud that you're like compelled to get up, but it does rouse you.
Yeah, I'm sure he's heard this before. We've stayed here till morning time on other occasions, so.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, Kale, just go get breakfast. Go get breakfast.
Go get breakfast.
Breakfast.
All right. So anyone who is going to make their way inside will be greeted with the smells of cooked bacon, fresh ham, freshly cooked ham, biscuits, definitely. There's that sort of like bread smell in the air, and there's like a spiciness to it. And as you enter in the main back entrance and you make your way towards the kitchen area, there is the table is set to entertain for everyone. And Mama is serving the last of sort of like the big, huge plates of these biscuits. And there's one of those big like gravy tureen things. And there's like there's bits of bacon and sausage in the gravy as well. And there's like there's some already done pepper where she's like ground some of it into like a little tray with a spoon. But the pepper grinder is also on the table in case someone would like their gravy particularly peppery. And as she finishes placing the rest on the table, you all, well, I guess at least three of you come in. How long are you going to be pumping water into yourself, Nas?
Not that long.
Okay.
This is a lot of water. Probably
Yeah.
work pretty quickly. But when I do get there, I will also hug Mama T and then give her a kiss on the forehead. Like almost exactly like Wampum did. And take a seat.
How tall is Nas?
She is 5'10", I think.
So Mama's like hugging around like your hips, basically, kind of. Maybe a little bit taller than
5'9".
that.
She's 5'9". Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So she gives you a good squeeze back and lets you kiss her on the forehead, and she smiles. Good morning, Nas. Oh, I'll get you some willow bark. And she looked like she was heading towards sitting down, but she's going to go back into the kitchen area, and you hear like the fire get stoked a little bit, and some like clattering sounds that are pretty familiar to most people to be like a kettle being filled. And after a few moments, she'll come out with it looks like almost like it would be a tea infuser kind of thing that's filled with little chips of something and hot water, and it's essentially like a tea of willow bark that's meant to like ease minor pains kind of thing. It doesn't taste super great. She's put a little bit of honey into it, and there's like a lemon on the side to try to make it more palatable.
It's cool. I'm fine with it, but I will look around for Taslin to see if he can like magic it for me to make it even better.
Yeah. So, and that's one thing. It's pretty easy to notice as everyone kind of like filters in, and Mama comes back in and sits back down, and Wampum's at. You would see it at the head of the table. Like the two heads would be Wampum and Mama, I assume. Yep. So she takes a seat opposite of you at the other head of the table, and there's like the distinct empty spot where Taslin should be. And she kind of looks around. Where's Taslin? Did somebody forget to wake him up?
Kale, you want to tell him to get up?
He'll be here when he's here.
Okay.
He's resting, I think.
Lafcadio is like stuffing his face because for the last year he hasn't been eating real food. But I mean, he's really eager about all this food, but he can't actually eat a lot. It's like his stomach is shrank from not having eaten a lot. So he's like, oh, this is real. But he doesn't finish anything on his plate.
Where do you sit in relation to Mama Lefcadio? So there's like Wampum at one head and Mama at the other. And there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of you. So there's 3, like space for 3 on each side, and 3 spots are set on one side and 2 are set on the other. 5, 6, yeah.
I will be in the middle of the 3, so I can reach all the foods.
Just kidding. There's 2 spots on each side. I don't know why I couldn't like count that for a second. Anyway, yeah. So she's watching everyone eat, of course, and everyone who has like one of those moms knows exactly what this is. When you're starting to eat and you're obviously like kind of nearing the end and like the little bites start, and then you kind of like aren't eating as much while everyone else continues to eat. She looks over and she's like, "You look thin. You should eat more.
Fatten him up, Mama."
I'm really trying.
Put more of the gravy on there."
Good thinking.
You all need to make sure he eats more. And she goes back to eating. Because consider for her, it's been like a day since you left, and you came back looking thin. So, yeah. So what are your plans for the rest of the day? Are you going to stay in town another day?
That's a good question. What is our plans today?
Well, I had the night to clear my head, and I remembered, definitely totally remembered, nobody reminded me, that I was told to go to the highest peak, Gray Peak Mountains. I know we were talking about going to Westgate. I figured this is on the way anyway. So.
No, it's totally cool. We can totally do that first. Absolutely. Good idea.
Great. Won't read into that any farther.
Good.
Yeah, so just we have flying carpets. We'll just fly over to wherever the highest peak is and do whatever we got to do and be on our way. Should be in and out. Should only take a couple hours. I figure we can use the Harper network to teleport to Loudwater and then just fly from there.
Damn carpets.
Are the Great Peaks small enough so that you can see it all within the scope of your view? Or
your view?
You know, can you I'm having a morning, all right? Can you see it all to know where the highest peak is?
Would Cal have been there? He might have like seen him, but I don't think he's ever actually been there. I don't know. We'll find out when we get there.
I was thinking about getting a map anyways, because we have been without a map a couple of times and it's been a little weird.
So, sure. Loudwater, that's the town in the south that had been abandoned because a vampire had taken over a halfling vampire had taken over the Harper's headquarters, and then we killed that guy, and that guy killed Allie, and as far as we know, everything's great now, right?
We'll find out.
We can check before we vamp.
Totally having this normal conversation, not for the sake of any imaginary listeners anywhere. Just normal things that someone would say during breakfast.
Mm-hmm.
You're right. I forgot about that. Because we used the teleportation circle there before to leave, right? I think that's what happened. I'll just scry on that before we go.
Scry on Loudwater?
Yeah. At some point, get out my crystal ball and scry on the teleportation circle in Loudwater.
Are you going to do it at the dinner table?
I guess I could. Why shouldn't I?
Neat.
How do you think Mama would feel about that, Wampum? Do you think she'd be fine with it, or do you think it would be like you're interrupting breakfast?
Probably a little bit of both. She would she would probably look at me like, what's he doing? And I'm just gonna shake my shoulders.
Okay. What's everyone's passive perception?
15.
Okay.
I know yours is super high.
15.
15.
I think mine's 10.
10. Okay.
Do you need mine?
No, you're fine. Yeah. So Kale and Lefcadio both will notice like Mama kind of like look over at Wampum, and he kind of shrugs, and she kind of like watches you curiously for a second, Kale, and then she takes a sip of something in her cup and continues eating, just kind of like watching you.
Beer.
Quick question.
Yes.
I feel like we went back and forth on this, but I don't know where we ended up landing. When Taslin looted some treasure, the Neuron Bane treasure hoard, he pulled out a crystal ball, which was either an arcane focus or also the crystal ball that is in Dungeon Master's Guide as magic item.
It was just an arcane focus. It had the capacity to be used as an arcane focus, and it was also just a valuable crystal ball. And so it was. I think. Did someone take it? Is this the one that you have, Kale?
I've had one for a really long time. So
Okay.
Someone gave it to Lefcadio, I think.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's what it is. Because it was like, I've already got one of these. We could sell it, maybe. I don't know.
do whatever you want with it. Okay.
Yeah, basically.
Some stupid
I
crystal.
already got these cool robes. I kind of feel guilty.
Yeah, so it's capable of being used as an arcane focus, but it doesn't have like magical properties other than that.
Got it. Thank you.
So I'll just check off a 5th level spell slot then. Start the day off right.
How does Kale grumble about that in character? Or
Oh, he doesn't actually. That's
Okay.
just me as a player.
Okay. All right. Let's see. So Loudwater. Just reading a bit about it because I don't know a lot about Loudwater. City that sat in the confluence of the Delimpier and Greyflow rivers. Let's see here. History, modern history. I'm trying to look for the size of it. City of Grottos. So where in the city was the teleportation circle when you encountered it last time?
Like in a tower that the vampire was in.
Town. Okay.
Yeah, just some sort of town.
Harper's headquarters was a tower, like the tower in the town.
Okay. Yeah, it doesn't seem to be like. What year are we in? Do you guys know?
1492, 1493-ish.
Okay. Yeah, so it's it definitely used to be like a big thriving city, and you can tell that the sort of like a lot of buildings and other structures that have gone into disuse because the population is like a quarter of what it was in the previous century. So this is the largest tower in town, and even then, it's like one of those like really old buildings that probably could use a lot of repair. So, so you're scrying on the teleportation circle, and from my understanding, the way the Harpers are set up is basically like there's somebody that operates it during like normal hours or when like upon request, and other than that, there's really not a whole lot of activity going on around that. Or was there anything special about this one?
Oh, that sounds right. It's just a regular teleportation circle.
Okay, I don't want to change what has been described to you before. So, so you scry on it, and you see that there's like almost like a workstation off to the side where there's a person that seems to be like taking their breakfast. They're sitting. There's like papers in front of them. They're wearing like the sort of like nondescript garb that the Harpers would wear, but they have like the pin with the harp on it on their cloak that's kind of like been pushed back as they're sitting and taking their breakfast and reading over something. And there's not a lot of activity other than that. I think you can move. No, not with scrying. I'm thinking of Sincere. So scrying is just like a top-down view, correct? Basically, when you scry on a location.
Well, it's like a sensor appears in the middle of the room, and I just look all around. It's like 360 degree.
Okay, so it is that. That's what I was thinking then.
Yeah.
So yeah, there doesn't seem to be much activity in the room other than that. The teleportation circle seems to still be in use, as there's at least a person sitting nearby it that seems to be reading over something. It doesn't look like it's been damaged in any way. The room looks like it was the last time that you saw it. The doors are closed.
Does it look like they noticed the scrying sensor at all?
No. They don't seem to be making any particular they don't look up and look their eyes. There's no confused look on their face. They don't get up and come to investigate and stare into your face weirdly. They seem to be kind of minding their own business, and they glance around every once in a while, keeping an eye on things. But it doesn't seem like anything that signals that you're being paid attention to.
Okay, and they don't seem kind of, I don't know, undead-ish?
No. Looks like a half-elven person, probably male, really fine features. That's the elf, the lineage there. But they have long hair. It's kind of braided back. They've got a bow kind of haphazardly leaning behind them against the wall, and a quiver back there. They've got a plain tunic on with several pouches on a belt, and it's like somebody who is casually reading in the morning, kind of posture to them. They don't have weird gray skin or sunken eyes or fangs or anything like that.
Okay.
As far as you can tell from the sensor can't move with scrying.
No.
So you are at a bit of a distance, but I mean, if you've seen up close the type of creature that you're trying to discern whether or not they are or are not, doesn't appear to be that way. Okie
dokie. Okay, we'll finish scrying, and then they'll look up from the crystal ball, and he'll say, "Yeah, everything looks fine. There's a harbor agent there, supposedly. There's someone there. They don't look particularly threatening, so."
Great.
You see Mama's finishing up the last of her breakfast, and she's watching you kind of finish and describe what it was that you were seeing. She nods her head, and she looks back over at Wampum again, and it's just
I'm trying to think. I feel like a while back I asked her for a lock of her hair specifically so that I could scry on her, or so that Wampum could look through the scrying ball and check on her while we were traveling. So
did you explain to her what scrying was?
I don't remember if I lied to her about it, but I don't see why Kale would have done that.
Yeah. So is this the first time she's seen you do it then?
She's probably, it's definitely the first time she's seen me actually do scrying. So.
Okay. So within the context of you having done that to try to make sure that you all can keep her safe and Wampum can keep an eye on her, what's your passive insight?
20.
Yeah. So, just kind of reading her gestures, you can infer, as she looks a little bit confused, and a little bit curious, and a little bit disapproving, you're doing it at the table, that she is probably recalling that you mentioned before you have a way of looking in on people, and this is the first time she's got the opportunity to watch you do it. So there is part curiosity of what are you doing, and then as you finish what you're doing and you describe the room you could see, it's kind of okay, so this is how it works. I see.
Great. I'll just gather up stuff that we'll keep for a few days, food-wise.
Okay. Yeah, she made way more than was necessary for all of you, but she wanted to make sure that Wampum was fully restocked in energy, so there are extras that you all can take with you, and when she finishes, she does after a few moments get up and start to clear plates and stuff like that.
And of course I thank her.
Mm-hmm.
It was very nice. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
I really like the gravy.
Thanks a lot, Mrs. Thunderbelly. It was delicious.
Thank you. It's my specialty. Wampum's favorite. One of his favorites. Had a lot of practice with this one.
Also, thank you for the tea. I already feel better.
I'm glad. I'm glad. It helps with little things that you don't want to have to go all the way to a temple for. And she busies herself kind of cleaning up again.
Tasman here yet?
Taslin, are you there yet?
Yeah. After Taslim made himself his own meal in his mansion, he strode down the streets, back in his bright white shimmering garb,
Okay.
and made his way there.
So,
And right at this moment, he just like throws open the doors. He's like, "Oh, don't worry, I'm here."
So, you get up after your trance, Taslin. And did you get dressed after your bath? Or did you have like a house robe kind of thing?
I think he had like a house robe.
Okay. So you have your bath. You feel a lot better than you did before, like when you first arrived home. You go and you have your trance time, veg out for a little bit. You've got your nice comfy house robe on. You're in your nice glorious bed. You get back up and you go back to your belongings. And that sense of like dread kind of like starts to eke at the edges of your senses again. Like there's just something about this that is unsettling to you.
I throw it in my backpack, pull out my old robes that have the dragon scales on them, and I throw that on.
Okay. Those are the ones that you just had commissioned.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So when Taslin grand gesture throws the door open and walks in, you all do notice that he's wearing the robes with the dragon scales that he recently had commissioned by the craftsman here at the Thunderbelly complex. Which, when Mama sees it, she kind of like nods in approval. You look nice today, Taslin.
Why, thank you. Please do go on. I do love flattery.
It's a well-made robe.
It is. Your craftsman is quite skilled. But we couldn't have slain this dragon if it wasn't for these four. So everyone give them a round of a hand. Taslin tries to get everyone to clap for him.
Mama looks around a little confused.
Well, don't mind me. I'm just going to be waiting.
I think you're muted, John. Sorry. What were you saying, Taslin? I'm sorry.
Oh, don't mind me. I'm just going to be waiting until I'm told where we're going next.
Are you hungry still? There's extra.
I couldn't possibly eat any more than I already have. You know us elves.
You do tend to pick at your green food. Well, they're taking some with them if you feel like you need anything a little more substantial.
I appreciate the hospitality.
Well, we're going to Loudwater.
Yeah, if you were on time, you'd know that.
Were you expecting a rebuttal? I simply don't have one this morning.
Good.
How are you feeling this morning, Taslin?
I feel so great. It's wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
I'm lying.
That was kind of obvious.
No bad dreams or anything?
I don't think I had any bad dreams.
You don't need any help?
No, but if you would like these robes, not the ones I have on, but the other robes that like glow, you can have them. I really don't want them.
Why not?
I don't think white is my color.
That might be true. I don't know. Never had a great eye for fashion, but just
You know, why would you ask him if he needs help?
well, because everybody else seemed to have gone out drinking last night. I thought maybe.
Oh.
Okay. Well, yeah, you can just hold on to those. I don't have any use for them. Actually, I wanted to ask Lefkadio, do you still have my rock? My lucky rock?
Oh, yeah. Here you go, mate.
Appreciate it. Thank you for bringing it back. Mikhail takes it and, I don't know, that starts attuning to it somehow. I don't know. He just holds it in one hand. That's what
I imagine it's like a worry stone.
Kind of, yeah. Yeah. Okay. Great. So everybody's doing great. We got my luck stone. We've got food. I'm ready to go. Does anybody need to do anything before we leave?
Yeah, kind of need to put my armor on.
Okay.
And I will take the opportunity to recognize the generosity of the Maharishi 66, who has gifted each of the players with another viewer inspiration with 1,000 bits. Thank you, Maharishi.
Thank you.
It's so nice. Oh, for the tea.
All right, so Wampum gets up away from the table, goes over and kisses Mama on the forehead. Well, it's time to get to work.
Okay. Well, we'll have everything here for you when you all want to come back again.
And then Wampum heads off to put his armor on.
And she heads into the kitchen to kind of clean up.
So,
Yep, go ahead.
Hmm.
What were you going to say?
After Wampum puts his armor on, comes back in. Well, when are we going?
Well, I'm ready right now.
Yeah, now's good.
Okay. Bye,
And there's
Mama.
Bye, Wampum.
Oh, Mama Thunderbelly, just so you're aware, the chapel out front, it'll just disappear this evening.
She peeks her head around the corner, and she's got like a dishcloth where it looks like she's drying something. She gives you a little bit of a curious look, and she goes out towards the back entrance to look out a window. She hasn't done this yet, so you see her move the curtain out of the way, and
Yeah, it'll just disappear as though it had never been there.
okay.
Later.
I'll let everyone know so they're not alarmed.
Great. Nobody will be able to get into it, but just don't worry about it. Just
Is it locked?
in a manner of speaking, yeah.
What is it? Is it when you cast it, out of character question? You're the only one that can make it inside?
Yeah, I can designate who can open the door and who cannot.
So you basically designated just yourself this time, or anyone in your party? Okay. So she kind of nods. I'll let everyone know that too.
It's okay. Good. Yep. Sorry for the intrusion again.
Is it going to flatten the grass or anything?
Nope.
Okay.
Magic. Let's leave. Let's get out of here. Let's go away from this
awkwardness. Is there a teleportation circle in Mirabar? I think we've established that there is one, correct? Where is it located? It was a underground kind of thing, right? No, I'm thinking of a different city.
I thought it was right outside of the city. Or maybe I'm thinking of Luskin.
Oh boy.
There is a right answer, but we don't have to be. All right, I can find it. I can find it.
I mean, there could be more than one. You never know.
Do you remember roughly where the is this an not Emerald Enclave? Harper's? Is this a Harper teleportation circle, or is this a city one? Okay. Do you remember the structure that the Harpers were housed in?
I want to say that it was in a cliff wall.
Okay, that's what I was vaguely remembering. That you had to go down into something to okay, that makes sense. So you make your way over to the location, and you have to, Mirabar has an entire underground city. So I imagine if we're inland and there's a cliff wall, then that it's underground, so it's not like off in the mountains. So you have to go down into the under portion of the city where there's more like mining infrastructure and things like that than on the city, which is more like mercantile, and the like temples and stuff are up there. So you make your way through the city to the Harper headquarters, and there's like a part where you have to like kind of climb down this like big ladder, I think I remember us talking about, and cross over into a room where the teleportation circle is housed. And I know when you greet them, basically you've all been given like free access to kind of come and go as you please. You just have to let them know that that's what you're doing, basically. Yep. Okay. Yeah, so you make your way down through easy enough. Like the same interactions that you have every time you go to try to use a teleportation circle, pretty much. The person that you're like, there's someone in the room when you enter, a young woman in like greenish robes, and she's got long brown hair that she's got pulled back into like one of those twisty ponytails. It's kind of like flowing down over her shoulder, and she looks at you all. She's got the like pin on like her shoulder of her robes. Where to?
Loudwater.
Ah, all right. And she goes over. Oh, we have notes here. Eager to learn the Harper circumference.
For
okay.
Future reference.
Okay, perfect. Ah, yeah. So there's probably like a secret knock on the door or something, and you're all not like showing your Harper pins then because the city is not super happy about the secret teleportation circle. Yeah, and she activates the circle as I think to Talzin, you're able to cast a spell, right? So nothing looks amiss about it as she activates it, and you're all teleported over to Loudwater, where you show up, and the person that you had seen when you were scrying, Kale, the half elven male, probably like the blondish hair pulled back, is standing when you all enter, and not looking like wary necessarily, but just generally paying attention to what's going on. And as you all come through, have you ever gone back to this place from the time that you all left before, when you kind of like saved the day and took off? Okay.
Nope.
Did any of you put your Harper stuff back on, where anyone would know who you are when you show up?
I think we don't actually have external things. We have rings that we were given when we were friends of the Harpers, and we were given the opportunity to have magical tattoos that can be displayed when we want them to be displayed. Okay. So I don't think everyone took advantage of that, but some of us did.
Okay. So how do you all signal to this person that you belong here?
We don't.
We know we're in charge.
If we got the rings, then I imagine Kale would have the ring out.
Okay,
Hello.
like hand up. They liked it, so they put a ring on it, kind of thing.
Yeah, sure, that's fine.
Okay. This is my right hand. Haha. But anyway, so yeah. So they like see you. they see you all enter, and they notice that there are some kind of indication that you clearly belong here, and they kind of relax and sit back down and pick up another few pieces of paper and continue reading. Don't really acknowledge your presence too much.
How's Loudwater doing? We haven't been here in a while.
About as well as it can be.
Is it mostly just Harper agents out here, or has trade fired back up? People moved in, or?
So what was the condition that the city had been right before you all had left?
Pretty sure everyone was dead. Or
Abandoned.
Yeah.
Okay, so there was like a vampire lord here, and everyone had like deserted, basically.
Everyone who wasn't turned undead, or there were succubi, I think.
Yeah.
Also, yeah.
He had the hobgoblins, right? On the first floor, and then he had the succubus, and then he was on the third floor.
Right. Yeah. That was everybody in Loudwater.
And some dead bodies.
All right.
Party too.
How long has it been in game since you were here?
It's got to have been at least a year, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, around 8 months, I think is.
Okay. So in that case, in the span of 8 months, this was one of those towns that was like a trade town because it's along a route. And so as caravans would come through, they could find a place to stop and rest and refuel on like simple supplies like food and do minor trading while they're like on their way to their main destinations. So when you ask that question, they kind of give like a almost puzzled look. And they're like, well, people have moved back in a bit. There's some minor traders, there's an inn, there's some people trying to eke out living in the local land. Fishing has returned. If you like fish.
Depends on the fish, I guess. What are there any, I know it's kind of a long shot, are there any cartographers around maybe? Or somebody that would have a map that they'd be willing to part with? Do you have one? I guess Harper's might have one. We're looking for a map of the Great Peak Mountains, but preferably maybe an elevation map. If we find one, that'd be great. And that's kind of a hard find.
Well, there is a library that had been abandoned. It's not very big in the town. Books don't feed people, so it doesn't seem to be too well picked over. You might try looking there. We've got some maps. I don't know if we'll have what you're looking for.
Books can feed people. You can boil them and extract the horse glue and then live off of the protein from the horse glue.
This is like physically painful for Cal.
This person, like when you say that, the look on their face is a mix of like disgusted and intrigued. Like,
it's a good survival tactic if you have no other options.
I never would have thought of that. Have you had to do that before?
Don't.
No.
Would that, out of character, would that be a deception check for Nas, or would that be a persuasion?
That would have been deception.
Okay. Why don't you go ahead and roll a deception?
Sure.
Do with advantage. You have so much.
Nice.
Didn't need it. 19.
Mm-hmm. So they like watch you as you say that, and they're like, well, that's good. It doesn't sound very pleasant.
It's not. It's terrible. Let's go look at some wholly intact books. Or maybe they're rotted a little bit, but whatever.
There's some records on the lower floor you can take a look through, and if you don't see what you're looking for there, then when you exit the tower, head a little bit west. It's right off the main road. I think the name is not really existent anymore, but you'll see a picture of a book. It'll be fine.
The universal sign of knowledge. All right. Thank you very much.
Good luck.
And then Caleb just leaves without asking for a name.
Oh, what a rebel.
Didn't want to put that on the DM.
No, it's fine. I know I need to like learn to have stuff like that just like on hand, or just like I don't know why. Like names are something I always like take the longest to come up with when I'm designing something. And so I'm like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be an important name. It can just be a name. Like whatever. Anyway.
Polonius.
Yeah.
Jim Jimson is my go-to.
Jim Jimson.
Oh, you must have met my brother, Tim Jimson.
Do you remember anything about the structure of this tower before? Like how many floors it has?
3.
Or 3 floors? Okay. So the top floor, I'm assuming, is the teleportation circle, is what you said, correct? Okay. Yeah, so you exit the top floor. There are a few other agents that you can see kind of like roaming about. By the time you exit, you'll have maybe seen like 6 of them. The front of this, despite being a large tower, there's like somebody that sits outside, but nobody really seems to be paying much notice. When you make it to the lower floors, there are a few rooms, and most of them look like they're just like common areas and like some bunks, but there is one that looks almost like it's been set up like a study, and there's like a small bookshelf with 10, 20 books in it. There are a couple of like rolled up scrolls, some like just like pieces of paper kind of like laying on a desk. Go ahead and make an investigation check.
You got it. I'm gonna do it with advantage because I can't.
Oh, I was going to assist, but
no, screw it. I want to use these books
Gotta
next to
burn
my
it.
face up. I rolled a nat 20.
Ooh,
So that's a 35.
35.
I don't have my rocket clip attuned yet, so it'd be 36.
Gosh, so close. Okay, so you're looking through, and what you find are there's like a general map of the area, which is mostly centered around the city itself, but it does extend into the forest and into the moor. On the back of that is a greater map of the area, so it looks like there's like a larger map that encompasses the mountains, a bit of the forest, more of the moor, and almost over into the next nearest large city, which is Secumber, I think is how it's pronounced. So when you flip it over on the back, you're able to see the mountains. There are like notes on the topography. It's not exactly like one of those topographical maps where like individual elevations are marked off with the like loops around them and stuff like that, but there are notes, and you can gather that the higher area is on the southern like larger portion of the range, which is southeast of Lork, which is the like city nearest to that. There's a larger range on the bottom side there, and the like second peak in this, there's notes. It's like there's 1 peak, 2 peak, 3 peaks, 4 peak, and they basically almost like there's like a curve there, and so the notes indicate that it's that second one that would be the highest.
Okay, great.
Are you making a Dr. Seuss joke? Yes, I knew it. I knew it. I knew it.
Okay, great. I already found it. Easy. I would still like to check out the library, though, if anybody objects. I don't care. I'm going to go do it.
All right, fair enough. What is everybody else doing while Kayla's like flipping through these books and opening scrolls and looking at them?
Taslin's just going to wander around the entire tower, just aimlessly wander. Gotta keep moving, gotta keep moving, gotta keep going.
Okay.
That's normal.
So you're wandering around. You see a bunch of what looks to be like common sleeping areas where there is like nothing's like super decorated or embellished. There are beds that look like comfortable but like plain. There are like nightstands. There's like weapon rack out in this sort of central area. The people seem to be congregating mostly on the first floor. They're taking their breakfast in. There's like a simple kitchen in there, simple dining area that's like in the back, and in the sort of front is like an admittance hall type of thing where it looks like they would like conduct business or what have you. Or they've like set it up with the intent to do that. There's like a large like table. It's like round, so it looks like they probably have meetings here, that sort of a thing. And when you come down, you can all notice that people sort of like take slight notice of you, but since you're coming from the above floor, there's no like interaction or greeting, particularly unless you make the like time to go and like speak to one of them or anything like that.
Nope.
Okay.
I'm just gonna pace right on by.
If no one else is doing anything specific, then you're all kind of like milling about until Kayla's done, and then he says he wants to go to this library. So you're able to, you exit the front door, and you can tell that this sort of area of the town is still not very active. There's not a lot of people around. You can kind of see off towards the east that there seems to be like the general sounds of like horse hooves and people moving about. What time of day did you all get up? Like, what time of day would you say that it is right now? Did you wake up super early?
I'd say probably about mid-morning.
Mid-morning? Okay. So it's like noonish around this time. There's that sort of like lunchtime activity where they're like shopkeepers are kind of like taking their breaks and having their meals. They're still like off and about, but it's also far off in the distance, basically, that you can like see that things are happening over there, and the direction you're heading doesn't seem to have hardly any activity at all, if any. And you can just like easily make your way down the road. You pass several buildings that they've seemed to like fallen into disrepair a bit. This was already a town that was like half to a quarter of the size that it was in its like peak. So there were already a lot of unused buildings. And when you arrived, it was completely deserted. And it seems like this sort of town hasn't seen, this side of town hasn't seen any love in the last 8 months. There are like dead bushes where there were vines obviously growing up the sides of buildings, and several garden plots along the way that are like long since dead. Looks like this used to be a city that had a lot of greenery and was really alive and bustling from like a nature sense, and just not present currently. You walk for about 5 minutes or so, and you get to what seems to be the sort of like library temple-ish sort of area in a city like this. The library is denoted by the like, there probably was a sign that had some kind of a name of the library, who it was dedicated to, who owned it, what have you. It's like so far decayed that you can just barely make out the sort of like symbol of like an open book and a quill that's over it. It's like a simple stone structure. It's similarly disrepair. There's like moss growing up the side of it. There are like dead vines again, like garden plots that are untended, and there's like weeds everywhere. But it doesn't look like it's like locked or barred or condemned or anything like that. So there's like one big wooden door.
In I go.
Okay. Everybody goes in. Are you all going to look for anything in particular, more maps, or just kind of like chill looking to see what Kale finds?
I think Tazin will peruse what they have, if they have any arcane themed books.
Okay.
Wampum will stay outside and enjoy a midday pipe.
Nice, nice.
I'll be with Wampum.
Okay.
I'll be inside, and if anyone, I'll be offering my services. You need me to look for anything, fellas?
Okay. So Tazin's looking for. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say yes. You can help me look for some arcana-based books. Anything on spells or, you know, just interesting books.
Interesting books, you got it.
Thank you.
It's a wide net you're casting.
Yeah.
What does a Lefcadio think is an interesting book?
So I just want to make sure I do have what I think I have.
It's got a cover on it.
Yeah, I cast the light cantrip, and I look for anything that reflects light because it has like a foil spine writing on it. So anything that's basically anything that's shiny.
Yeah, anything like gold leafed, kind of like the pages. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so you all enter this building except for Nos and Wampum, who are outside. Wampum is enjoying a nice smoke on the, like, there are like 3 stone steps that lead up to it that are mostly dry. The moss seems to be kind of like hovering towards the outside, so you can sit down comfortably without having to like have wet pants when you stand back up. You all walk into the wooden doors and you see that it's essentially one large room. There is a door in the back, which probably leads to like a back area where the people who tended the place would take breaks and stuff like that. There's like a desk that's been turned over to the side. There's no like papers or anything around that. That seems to be where like the librarian type would be sitting and doing work. There's like one sort of table that's kind of set in the middle with some chairs that were around it. There's one that's turned over that looks like it could still be of use. The several others are broken. It seems like there's like a campfire that's been made out of parts of chairs in one side of the room, and you can see that there are a few books kind of like packed over the top of that. Like the spines are really all that's left, and they're heavily charred. Like somebody must have made camp in here one night and decided that this would be good kindling. And there are large bookshelves. It's really only one story, but it's like a tall one story, like 11 or 12 feet. And there are bookshelves that line the entire walls. There is a stool, or as opposed to one of those fancy like ladders that can like slide up and down. that you can tell somebody would stand up on to get to the really tall ones, unless there was a Goliath around or something like that. There are not as many books as you would hope for. You don't know how long this place might have been abandoned or misused, or how many people might have come here for kindling. But there are several books. When you cast a light cantrip of Cadio and you kind of are shining it around, you do have to kind of make a bit of a circuit. It shines for 30 feet, and this room is probably 50-ish feet back and about 20 feet wide. So you're gonna have to move back a little bit to try to catch the back ends. And as you're walking around, there are about 3 books that seem to have reflective properties. There are 2 that are sort of in 2 different bookshelves on the left side of the room on the back, and then there's one on the other side. And as you make your way around to read them, one is an illuminated manuscript style book. The pages are a little bit soggy and worse for wear. It seems to be a general study of the plant life in the area. Somebody put a lot of care into this book. And it's really beautiful, or it was, and it probably could be restored to some extent. And it tells you a lot about the flora of the region. And then on the other side, there's one that's almost seems to be a philosophical study of ethics. That's similarly pretty spine, but the inside isn't an illuminated manuscript or anything like that. It's plain on the inside. And then there's one book in the back corner that has gold leaf looking type, but it's probably not actual gold. It's more like foil that's meant to be gold that they've used. And the topic of this book is the history of the city, but it looks like it's, instead of it being fully scholarly, there are political intrigue notes on things that have happened throughout the rise and fall of this city. Now the date on it ends during the sort of post heyday, where the population had quartered and the activity in the town had died out, and somebody who probably loved this city talked in depth about the history of it and what they speculate led to some of the decline of the city.
I grabbed those 3 books and I seek out Tazlin.
All right. And in the meantime, you were looking for arcane books, Tazlin, and yep. You were looking for... What were you looking for, Kale? Just taking a look around to see what you could find?
Yeah, Kale just wanted to get a general idea of the state of the place and what needs to be done to make it not shit anymore.
Okay.
You'd want to get an idea of how many people it would take, maybe to restore the place up in a not unreasonable amount of time.
Okay. So in the meantime, go ahead, Tazlin, and make an investigation check. Take a look around, see if you find anything. When you come in and you take a look around, Kale, you do see, of course, that it's been a long time since anyone's used this for its intended purposes. Some of the books have been burned. There seems to be some sort of leak in the back on the right. When Lafcadio made his way back there earlier with the light and he picked up a book that had a reflective spine, you noticed that there was moss and some lichen growing on the wall almost, and the floor looks like it is sunk a little bit in the back. The stones are there's a gradient, a decline there, and there's almost a pool of water where it seems like the roof must be leaking, and it's been long enough that the ground under it has been softened and the stones have sunk down in, and there's a little pool of water there that has some moss and some lichen in it. There are this is a northern city, I think. Yeah, so there's no mosquitoes or anything because this is kind of northern. There is a bog nearby, or a moor, I guess. So you might expect something like that, but you do see that there's small water creatures, little tiny frogs or something, that are in this pool of water that have just kind of made a home there. Mm-hmm. And other than that, just general carpentry, general stonework, something like that. And you would actually need to restock the place because it's half capacity, kind of at a glance is what you guess. It could fit quite a few more books and scrolls. There is actually one of those big scroll keeper things that it's deep, and they have little like squared cubbies. And there are several pieces of paper in there. A lot of them look like they have been water damaged. Not like water has leaked onto them, but like general humidity in the area has caused it to be like soggy and a bit yellowed. So just a general repair of the place and like refresh of the furniture. Does it look like it's beyond saving though?
Sure. So yeah, that's pretty much the plan. Like you said, there are a bunch of people. Well, not a bunch, but there are people in the town in the part where there's people.
Yeah, like they were far enough away that you could see that there was activity and hear the noise of people, but not really tell like what had been restored, except some like minor, like daily living type of stuff going on over there. It didn't look like it was a bunch of transient like people just passing through. It looked like there were things that were set up.
So what Kale would like to do is note all of those things. And go back to go outside. I guess probably tell Nos and Wampum like, hey, I'm gonna pay some people to repair this place, and then he's gonna wander off towards where the people were, and then like thaumaturgy be like, are there any masons or carpenters or any other people that want to make money? Come here. Okay.
Okay. You make a persuasion check. We'll say with advantage because you said anyone who wants to make money. And then Tazlin, so your investigation was a 17?
Yes.
Okay. So knowing how long this place, or guessing that this place has been abandoned for quite some time, it's expected that anything that looks immediately of value would largely be picked over unless it was like overlooked. Mm-hmm. And Lufcadio shining the light caught the like shiny covers that other people had missed because books were like laying on their side, and maybe one was like askew and slightly in front of it, or there'd been like an open book and the pages were kind of covering it, but catching that sort of like glimmer is how he was able to spot them so easily, or at least like able to spot them at a glance. And as you're picking through looking for anything specifically that would be useful, you come across a few books that look like they're either very old or very weathered. One of them, the title, which is like long and scholarly, and you imagine was probably written by a wizard because it's like almost a thesis statement, seems to be like a study on general like teleportation magic and the theories behind like what exactly it is that happens to an individual's body as they're being teleported, and what the different spells might do as you're passing through like astral plane space and other things that they're talking about. And is there any topic in specific that Tazlin would find particularly interesting?
Curses,
okay.
But also probably things involving planar travel.
Okay. So the book that has a study of teleportation and stuff like that does have an entire section on interplanar travel. This does look like it is a bit old. So it's not that it would be unuseful to you at all. There's probably useful information in there when you kind of like glance through it and read over it, but it's not like the latest study from some like super powerful wizard or anything like that. Since you're specifically looking for information on curses, not necessarily like an arcane book, but more in the sort of like divine section, or what you imagine was probably that at some point, where you're finding a lot of like books about the history of like different theologies, not theologies, but different the mythos behind the different deities. You do find a book about general curses and different types of curses. There's like, it's one of those like subsections, like we did a study of the things that people encounter and how it impacts them and different ways that it has been cured. It's also divinely oriented, that basically their answer was like find a cleric or seek out help from like petition the god through prayer, basically. But it does have some useful information that you, as flipping through, you think would either just be good to know or might help you, like, in general.
Yeah, Tazin will pocket both books.
Okay. All right. Perfect. Nos and Wampum, what are you guys up to outside while you're having your nice smoke and keeping an eye on things?
I think Wampum is thinking about the missions ahead.
Mm-hmm.
When he's actually going to be done with all the combat that's coming. He's really thinking about home. You know, he misses it. He's been away for such a long time. So he's starting to think about possibly within the next couple of years giving up the adventure life and going back to the forges where he's happy.
Yeah, I like that. And as you're thinking about it, you're remembering like pleasant memories are coming to mind of like the first time that you made something really well, and you could tell that it was like a step ahead, like you figured out what it was to get over like the barriers that you've been running into when you had been making these items that were well made and well crafted, but weren't like fine dwarven goods and things like that. And so you're just getting that sort of like general warm, sort of like nostalgic, pleasant feeling, and remembering like past successes that were in like simple times, not like earth-shattering, world-saving, just like working with your hands and being proud of things that you made. What about you, Nos? Go ahead. Never mind.
And then he's going to turn to Nos. You ever think about giving all this up?
Huh? And she's on the ground. She's got the hood of her cape up, and she had begun to fall asleep. What?
All this fighting, adventuring. We're getting old. You ever thought about giving it up?
Me? No, I'm in this for my immortal life. I die, I keep fighting. That's the deal.
I understand.
What, you mean, are you talking about you? You're talking about you.
Yeah, I'm getting old. Stuff hurts in the morning. I mean, adventuring is fun. Exploring's fun. But stuff is beginning to hurt longer.
If that's what you want to do, I fully support you. I just want you to be happy. Think that's the way to do it? Do it.
Well, I'm happy. Just, I don't know. Maybe I'm just seeing Mama the last few times. Don't know how long I'm going to have her.
Oh, that's valid. Yeah. If it's any consolation, you will see her again in another time, in another plane.
Yeah, I know. But I'm just wondering if now that she's getting to be an old dwarf as well, is she able to keep up with the business?
That's true. You can't leave the business to thump him. You'll screw everything up.
Yeah.
He'll drink the rest of the merchandise.
Yeah, he will. Yes, he will.
Real talk, though. I mean, I like the idea of making sure that your genetics continue into, the rest of the population.
Yeah, I'm wondering about if there would be somebody out there for me.
Oh, I guarantee you could have your pick, but, it's like, do you want them? That's the question.
I don't know. Maybe I'm just getting a little homesick after the few years. But yeah, I wouldn't mind having somebody nice and warm.
I do want that for you someday.
Yeah, someday. We gotta We gotta finish saving the world all over again.
Oh, that shit will never end, believe me. You have to decide when you want to stop.
Yeah. And then Wampum starts to pack, the pipe a little bit more thicker. Alright, well, when the hell do you think these people are going to be done so we can get moving?
Gods, tell me about it. I don't know. Hopefully soon.
And you've all seen Kale already pass by and I'll be back in a second. And about that time, you hear the thaumaturgy voice of Kale yelling for craftsmen who would like to make money. It's almost comically timed because I want it to be. So what was your persuasion roll, Kale?
I rolled a 1 and a 7, so that would be a grand total of 10.
Nice. So as you make your way, how close to the activity do you get? Are you yelling from a distance, or are you walking to the edge of where people
right
are?
Right in the middle of it.
Okay. So it takes you. I think I said it took 5 or so minutes, maybe 7 minutes, something, to get to where the library was at a moderately quick pace or what have you. So it takes you 10 minutes or so, maybe 15, to make your way back. You pass the tower. There's somebody sitting outside who kind of half-heartedly waves at you as you pass by, more just a general greeting because they know that you recently exited from here. And as you continue down the way, you see past all of the similarly abandoned buildings, not billions, they're not billions that are abandoned. A couple have crumbled. The stonework has completely fallen away. Were you going to say something? I saw a hand move. Oh, you're just patting yourself. Okay. You get to this sort of portion of town where it looks like this was far enough away from whatever nonsense had been going on before that had caused everyone to abandon the town in the first place, that it doesn't seem to be quite as in disrepair. Whatever activities might have been going on while this place was inhabited by these nefarious creatures seem to be centered around the tower. So most of the decay and destruction is there, and this area is well kept but abandoned. There's not as much crumbling buildings, water just kind of chilling out, making everything all mossy and stuff. It's clear that these people have just kind of taken up residence in old buildings and have kind of fixed them up. It doesn't look like it's necessarily haphazardly fixed up. They're fresh signs that are painted. One is a general goods. One looks like somebody who with some skill with wood has hand carved a sign for an inn where they've got a bird that's perched on a branch, and above it says Meadowlark. And inside you can hear general activity of a lot of people having conversations. They're probably taking their midday meal there, kind of thing. There are carts outside that are covered, and there's people standing near them, protecting their wares as they're passing through town. And there are a few stalls where people are selling a few goods. These are either breakdown stalls or maybe merchants that are just kind of passing through. There's a fish salesman. And there's someone next to him who's selling cooked fish on a stick sort of thing, so people can take a meal as they're passing through. So you can walk out into the middle of this minor bustling activity and shout out this, does anyone want to make money? And while the people that are outside in general don't seem to take too much notice because they seem to be more mercantile or guards protecting sort of wares, there is somebody who, with a plate of food in hand, slices of cold bacon and a biscuit, doesn't look nearly as nice as the biscuit you had to eat this morning, comes walking out with not a disgruntled look on his face, but confused. And he walks out and he sees you standing there, and he kind of looks around at everyone. Seems to be a human, probably nearing middle age. There's a few gray hairs and a dark black beard that seems to be closely cropped, but not super short. He's got kind of messy, curly, black hair on the top of his head. He looks like he's either been an adventurer or has worked throughout his life. He's got that sort of like musculature of someone who either does hard labor or swings a sword a lot, something like that. And he kind of looks at you confusedly and takes a bite of his biscuit. What are you yelling about?
So this is the only person that's like responding in any way.
Other people are like looking at you, but you asked for like carpenters and masons who would like to make money, and so these are people with like wares to sell and like swords at their size that are standing next to like carts of covered goods. Like they don't seem to be the sort of people who can take you up on that offer. So they're like watching you with interest, but they're not like answering your summons. This is the one person who has come out, and as you like kind of peek over his shoulder behind him into this like inn sort of place, you do see that there are probably about like 15 people-ish at like a glance that you can count, like just like looking at heads with your like passive perception that are probably in there. It doesn't look like there are a lot of people here.
Right. Okay, so I'll ask this dude, do you know if there are any carpenters or masons in town, any artisans of that sort that could help repair the library on the other side of town?
He like finishes chewing because he like chewed a little bit, and when he was talking to you, kind of like stuffed the food in the side of his mouth earlier. And he swallows, and he kind of like reaches up and pats the wooden sign that's been like hung over the door of this like lark on a branch. Pretty good with woodwork.
Great. I'd love to hire any number of people willing to work. Are you a leader here of some kind, or what's your deal, dude?
People started to pass through the area again when it seemed safe, and they needed a place to sleep. And this building was empty. So I thought, instead of working all the time, maybe I'll just stand there and let people sleep in empty rooms. Seemed like a good change of pace.
Okay.
And you can see that he's got like calloused hands and things like that. Like he was like a craftsman who was like, this is an easier life. I'm going to do this for a while kind of thing. But the sign looks nicely made. It's not like hugely ornate or anything, but it's well done. Anyway, continue. Sorry.
All right. So I'll tell you what, I'm kind of in a hurry. I got other things to do. So, and as Kel's saying this, he reaches into the bag of holding, he pulls out a nice piece of parchment, not some rotten old piece of shit one from the library, and he gets his pen with infinite ink in it that he's always had. Don't ask me any questions about it. Don't at me. And he starts writing on it. And he says, I'll tell you what, if there's somewhere that you can post this sign where a lot of people will post this notice where a lot of people will see it, I got to run off and do some other stuff, but I'm going to come back as soon as I can, and I will make good on all the things I've written on this parchment. And Kale hands over the parchment to him and 5 platinum pieces. He holds it out to him, and on the parchment it reads, basically it's like, my name is Kale Irvine, I'm a champion of Denier, I'm looking for people to help me restore the library on the other side of town. I will pay 5 platinum at the start of labor, and another 5 platinum when it is deemed complete. I will be back in town hopefully within a 10-day. If not, I will let the poster of this note know. And then I'll ask the dude his name.
Chester.
Chester Lesterman. Gotcha.
Chester Lesterman.
I'll add him under enemies. Chester Lesterman.
So when you hand over these five platinum pieces, do you just like open up your hand with 5 platinum pieces on it and like hold it out for him, or do you do a thing where you kind of like press it into his hand while you're handing him the parchment?
I just have a parchment and 5 platinum in my palm, and
okay,
just hold it.
So everyone in the area can see it. He kind of looks down at it and looks at you. His eyes are wide. Like this is a lot of money to the average person. And he kind of like looks over at the people with the swords, and he's like, yes, you're like a powerful champion that'll come back and take care of things if anyone decides to try to mess up your plans, right?
Yeah. You got it.
So if you're going to pay on the start of work, are you only planning to hire one person?
No,
I'm
as many
assuming you're
people want
giving this-
to. That's for you to post it somewhere and make sure the word gets out. I'll pay as many people as want to be paid that amount of money.
But if you're going to pay them at the start of work,
Mhm.
I'm not going to have anything else to give them. So you're going to pay them at the end of work.
Both. I'm not asking the work to be done while I'm gone. I'll come back, and people who have signed up, I'll meet with them, and we'll make the agreement in person, and then the work will begin. Yeah, you got it.
I got it. It seemed like you're leaving town.
Yeah, we gotta
give people. Okay.
Yeah.
When do you think you'll be back? You said in 10 day?
Within a 10-day, hopefully.
Okay.
Maybe today, maybe tomorrow. If not, like I said, I know your name. We've met. We're familiar with one another. You'll hear from me.
All right. And he puts them in like a pouch, and he's kind of like looking around. Like he looks a little nervous, but not necessarily like of you, just of the fact that you just like handed him a huge sum of money in front of people. And like with your passive insight, it's pretty obvious he's basically like making everyone like he wanted you to make it clear to everyone that you're coming back, and if they like try to rob him or whatever, that you'll take care of it. Like that's what he's hoping, basically.
It's all on the parchment.
Yeah. Okay. So so he kind of nods. He's like, can mock up a board inside to post it on, make it look all nice. Offering this kind of money, I'm sure that people will be happy to help. Are you going to ask them to display some kind of skill? Because
maybe, I don't know. This is all kind of happening very quickly.
I'll just put this up, and you can sort all that out.
Exactly. Yep.
Sounds
Appreciate it. Thank you very much for your help, Chester Lesterman. I will see you around, and then Kale will. I imagine he would still have the carpet. He'll just like flick out the carpet and say the command word and jump on the carpet because he's trying to flex. And then he'll fly up and he'll thaumaturgy and be like, "Everyone, please take heed of the note Chester Lesterman will be posting today. It is entirely legitimate, I assure you. My name is Kale Irvine. Goodbye." And he'll leave back towards the library.
Okay. Yeah. So that's quite a show as you exit, and you can see like as you were talking, a few people were kind of like looking out that were sitting in there and taking meals, and you like flick out the carpet, and one of the people that's like standing there with a sword at their side near the carts of goods, like exclaims something. What languages do you know?
All of them.
Abyssal, Celestial, Common, Dwarvish, Elvish, Gnomish, Goblin, Orc, and Sylvan.
All right. Yeah. They curse in Sylvan. It looks like upon closer inspection, because that's kind of odd, they have really fine features, really like delicate structure on their face. They have a hood up, so it's difficult to say a lot about them, but they probably are some kind of elf that knows a couple of curses in Sylvan. Like they probably like learned as a joke initially, and it kind of stuck with them. Not a curse like they're cursing you, but like, oh shit, that kind of a thing, but in Sylvan. Yeah.
Like, oh shit.
Yeah, like this is a hell of a thing for the average like level half mercenary who is like, yeah, I'll take a gold for walking for 2 months to, whatever, like not a gold, but like low wage, unimpressed. This is sort of thing that people don't see every day kind of thing. Yeah. So you burst off in glory, and there's a general ruckus as it happens. You can hear like people start like talking as you fly away, and you make your way back to the library.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you, Wampum and Nas have twice heard Kale yelling something at these people over. Well, the first time it was pretty clear. He was so loud you could tell that he was asking for masons. The second time there was a bit of that like Doppler effect thing going on. So you just heard loud Kale's voice, and then you see him like shooting through the sky at you. What have Tazlin and Lefaudio been doing in this time?
I think Tazlin got his 2 books and they left, and he like walked out and is just standing there waiting.
It's outside. Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I guess that means Lefaudio is doing the John Travolta meme, just looking around. Eventually, he'll make his way outside. I said, "Oh, there you are, Teslin. Here, these books look very interesting."
Oh, I will take them all. Do you mind opening up the bag of holding for me to put them in?
Do I think no.
I don't remember who has it. I know it's not me.
Kale has it.
Kale has one. We have a second one.
You assured me when you went to the Feywild that all of our stuff was with Kale.
Well, I don't have it.
So what happened to our second one?
The second bag of holding is left at Mama's house.
Teslin has been stuffing stuff in the bag of holding all the time, so I reckon Teslin has the other bag of holding.
I mean, that's a safe bet. I just throw it in. Problem solved.
Your hands were full though, so you needed someone to open it
Yeah.
for you. That's and so now you can put the stack of books in there safely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
They're now in my inventory as shiny books.
Okay. And Kale comes streaking through the sky at 80 feet. Well, I guess like 160 feet per second, probably, if you're dashing and trying to make a spectacle of yourself leaving. And I think that's a good time to go to break. So we'll be back in a few minutes. I think the plan is to run a couple of ads to prevent any like newcomers and rains from having that happen. We'll see if that works out. So if you see that, like, we're doing that to make sure that doesn't happen while we're actually playing. I will see you in a few minutes. Bye. We'll see you in a minute. Hello, welcome back to Halfway Heroes. We took a little break and we're back, and I forget what we were doing. I'm not gonna lie. Oh, Kale got back. All right, so you're all in the same place again in front of the broken down library that Kale is hoping to restore. Taslin is shoving some books in his bag. Nasa is lying on the ground. Wampum is packing a pipe. Lafcadio is looking helpful, and Kale comes soaring in.
Hello, I'm back. I don't know if you guys heard. I was just trying to wrangle some people up to help fix up this library.
Yeah, we got it. We heard.
We don't need to do it right now.
Clues.
How could we not hear?
Yeah.
Great. So I just promised I'll be back. I'm going to come back here after we're done in Great Peak, just real quick, just stop by just to hire some people, just to get them to fix it up. But we don't need to deal with that right now.
So are we going, or?
Yeah, unless there's something else somebody wanted to do.
Kale, mate, did you want help drumming up support?
No. Yes, absolutely. Yes. I want help drumming up support. As long as it's, I mean, is it going to take long? I feel like we should probably get moving. It's going to be a long flight.
No, if we just stop back in the middle of town, I'll get some attention and.
Okay. Yeah. Let's do it. Everybody ready? We should probably fly in on the carpets, just for.
Oh, that
dramatic
reminds
effect.
me. I forgot to cast water breathing on you all today. My bad. That's on me.
well-
Hold still. I'm gonna cast that.
I'm not going to stand here for 10 minutes and wait for you to do that.
No. I'll walk with you, and Can I walk and cast it?
Yeah, just jump on my back. Just jump on my back.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're going to be on the carpets anyway, then you
Yeah.
could be sitting.
Okay, we're on the carpets.
Yep.
All right.
So I'll cast it while we fly.
Yeah. You're going to get there before the 10 minutes because you're flying, and it's literally going to take like a minute to get over there. But you can all like hover on the carpets or whatever. You're on Lafcadio, so it depends on whether Lafcadio gets off of his carpet when you get there. But if he does, then you could just like lower it to the ground, and you could just continue sitting there and casting if that's what you'd like to do.
Actually, I'll wait. I'll wait until after we start going on our non-stop journey to the mountains. That seems easier. Instead, I'll take 6 seconds and I'll cast my chakra on myself, and that'll be that.
Okay. All right.
All right. Yeah, we hop on the carpets.
Yeah.
And I guess fly back to the middle of town or wherever Kale was.
Yeah.
All right. So I'll stay hovering, maybe about 10 feet off the ground. And I was like, Kale, would you mind helping me amplify?
I mean, I can amplify myself, but I don't know about other people. But here, I'll do this. And Kale will say a thaumaturgy word, and you'll hear like a crack of lightning, kind of just distant. Just and he'll shout, "People of Loudwater, look over here!" And he'll throw up his drift globe and turn it on with the light spell, just kind of somewhere near Lefcadio.
Okay. Yeah, so the drift globe hovers up and kind of like behind Lefcadio. So from the ground, he's like slightly silhouetted, but he's got this like crown of light, almost like corona sort of thing going on around him. It's light, so it doesn't like block out his features, but he still is like a little like shiny, like a halo kind of thing. And the people who are at like the stalls and everything that were already outside are definitely already paying attention. And you see some people like trickle out. A couple people are like looking through the windows, like they look a little bit more hesitant and worried. And there are a couple people that come and like stand outside the door and are watching or like peeking around and looking out.
So I'll stand up and I'll pull the lute out in front and I'll strum it. I'll go, bro. And I'll say, "Attend! The heroes of Loudwater have returned. The slayers of fiends and undead. The doers of great deeds and small. Experts in both magic and bloodshed. Carpenters wanted. Expert wood handler required. Can you lay down the lumber? If so, you're hired. Looking for masons too. Enduring hardness is what we seek. Can you handle your mortar? Paying 5 platinum per week."
That's not not accurate. Thank you. First off, thanks for that. Terms and conditions. We'll work out the details when I get back. But clap, please clap.
Is this thaumaturgy when you're doing this?
Yeah. When I
okay. Yeah. No. Like people were already impressed and were kind of like starting to file out, meander out of the doorway to like listen when it looked like you weren't going to make trouble. And then of course at the end, the 5 platinum per week, there's just like raucous applause and people start like nudging each other and talking amongst themselves and stuff. And one of them, like, so you're 10 feet off the ground, but are you like right towards the entrance? So they're not like having to like yell to you? Or are you like kind of back a ways, like
in the middle, wherever.
In the middle of the street kind of thing?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
There's a sign inside. Is this the same deal?
Yeah, the sign's more accurate with the terms of payment and stuff like that.
We'll talk about it when you get back.
Yep.
There's like one who's kind of like come out in front of the rest, and he like seems to be like spokesmaning for everyone. Mm-hmm. And he like looks back over his shoulders, and they're all kind of like talking and like I said, like nudging each other, and like some are nodding and some are like, and they seem to be like generally interested and like curious by what you've put on display. By the way, inspiration, DM inspiration for Carl, because that was wonderful.
Thank you.
Rhyme things. Apparently, that's how you get me today. Yeah, so there's like just like general murmuring amongst themselves at this point.
Great. Well, let's leave them one more or whatever. I don't.
Yep, that's the thing. Let's do it.
That sounds wonderful to me.
Okay, so you have a map. You were able to discern that with the speed, if you go at the speed of the slowest carpet, traveling directly to the mountain range and to roughly the area of the second largest peak, will take a little over 2 days.
Okay.
Kale knows that after having gotten a map and taken the time to look at it. what's the journey going to look like? Are you going to try to make it all in one shot, take a point of exhaustion? Are you going to a couple points, I think? Like, are you going to, like, stop in the city Lork on the way or camp in the woods? I don't know what happened to it. Let me look.
I think that place was destroyed at some point.
In the official lore or in, like...
Yeah, no, I mean,
okay.
like, we've never been there.
All right, let me take a look at it.
You are the DM. You can do whatever you want.
That's true. That's true. Let's see here. Savage frontier town. Humans, dwarves, and others. Lork dialect of northern Aluskan. Was a large human town. Once an important mining town, it dwindled. And was finally annexed by the Zintrum. Oh.
And then keep going. And...
Everybody make a history check.
You got it.
And while you're doing that, I'll tell you what you all know about that.
Sounds wonderful.
Can I have advantage with one of my books?
Was one of your books? Do you have books on this area?
I got 4 books next to my head on the overlay.
Oh, yes, sure, yeah. Use your resources.
Thank goodness.
I got a 4.
I got a 2. Beat
I
you.
got a number that is equivalent to 16.
I got 18.
Ew. So let's see here. We are in the 15th century because that's how things work. So anyone got 15 or more?
Yeah, me.
Okay.
And me.
And
so you have, this city isn't anything of like particular note to either of you, but you do have general knowledge that there was like a takeover. It was under false pretenses. It seemed like one of the more nefarious guilds, perhaps the Zintrum, were involved. And they kind of had a stranglehold on the place for a long time. But then when the rich mining veins ran out, they kind of abandoned the place. At which point there was some incompetent person put into power who basically caused everyone to leave because they were disgruntled and unhappy. And there wasn't a lot of opportunity left in the area since the mining opportunities had been kind of sucked dry in that sense. Let's see here. The bandit king was eventually killed. The last, and you had an 18, right, Kale?
correct.
So Tazlid is under the impression that it's probably mostly abandoned. Maybe people have started to move back in because it seems like whoever that incompetent person was left. And Kale, you know that that person was actually eventually killed. And let's see here. People started to return in an attempt to restore it, but then a clan of stone giants smashed the town into rubble. This is the last thing that you know.
We're going to avoid that place.
Yeah. But it's been about 20 years. To the silly place. It's been about 20 years since it was kind of smashed into rubble, so there could be something there now, but it's not in a particularly lucrative place for somebody to set up shop if the mining opportunities have been kind of blood dry, so probably not a whole lot there.
Forget that. I'm going to say we should take a straight line directly toward the highest peak and stop whenever we get tired. So we'll probably have to stop twice. And I can make us a temple.
All right. Cool. Are you going to fly high up in the air? Are you going to stay close to the ground? What's the plan?
Tazlin, do you know the Featherfall spell?
No. So I have a ring of Featherfall.
Does it work on other? Okay, so we're gonna fly kind of low.
Okay.
Maybe 60 feet up.
Okay. Basically, skimming the ground to the top of trees and stuff, sort of thing.
Yeah.
So between, if you'd make a straight shot, basically, with a good survival check, which somebody will have to make, you'll pass over the edges of a forest, and then after that, it will be like the outer peaks of the mountain range. So it'll be kind of like lower ones that you'll be drifting up and over until you get to the actual like heart of the range itself.
Well,
Okay, we've got one really nice survival check.
I got a 6.
You get a 6. So you'll get packed up. You start to head to leave. You like quickly decide that you're not going to go like too high up, and Kale kind of like looks, and he does like a sort of thing, like basically gestures, and Wampum, you're like no, that way.
I'll just take his hand and point it in the right direction.
Yeah, just like push it from like, I'm assuming you've tied yourself back into the carpet, right? Yeah. So Wampum is tied to the carpet and like leans over slightly with the rope to the other one that you're on, Kale, and like just pushes your arm over a little bit.
We're going to go that way.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So like I said, it'll take about 50 to 52-ish hours going at the 30 feet per second that you both can go at since you're overladen. The smaller carpet could go faster, but of course you'd leave your friends behind. So you're going to stop twice, you said?
However many times we need to not be exhausted. So
Twice.
Probably twice,
Yeah. Okay. So let's see here. The first point you'd be stopping at would probably be around the edge of the forest. That would be like a long travel day, but it wouldn't surpass the like 24. Let me make sure that I'm doing my math properly. Yeah, you'll be around like the edge of the forest south of Loudwater would be the first stop. And then the second one will be, so the mountain range has, there's like two parts of it. There's a main sort of connected part on top. Then there are several, not disembodied, that's the wrong word, detached sort of like mountains in like a hillish region. And then there's like the second half of the range, like the real like large mountains towards the bottom. The second stop would need to be basically right before the southern like large portion of the mountain range. There's like one smaller peak that the river leads into. That will be around the zone that you'll need to stop for the second night. So the first night, you can make it to the edge of the forest.
Cool. We make it there. I find a clearing of 120 square feet, hopefully, somewhere.
Yeah. If you fly to the very edge of it, which is like, this is like a 15-hour, like you're on into like deep into the night, like the sun's almost coming up again kind of situation, but you're able to get to the edge of it, and there is basically like at the edge of the tree line, kind of like an open sort of plains-ish area that's like not a whole lot of grass. This isn't very lush, but there is some. It's like prairie grass that's short. And then like along the river, it's a little bit more fertile. But it's like before the hillish and mountain range begins, there's like a stretch there that you'd be able to make something that big easily.
Yeah, he lands and, everybody's seen him do it before. It takes an hour. He stands there with the drift globe hovering in front of him, and he's doing this dealio, and every once in a while he flicks a finger off and it makes a wall or something.
Nice.
And eventually there's a temple.
Does anyone want to do anything in particular besides cast water breathing while you're on your long trip? No? Okay.
Tazin will probably like repack and pack his bag like every time, like putting the clothing he had on prior, the robe of scintillating colors, further down in the bag.
And it's it was your belongings in general. So the robe.
Yep.
Any of the like underclothes you had on, any like trinkets that were like anything on your right hand, anything you were wearing around your neck, anything on like a belt loop.
Okay.
Or anything like that. So any items that you like would have on your actual person.
Okay. So I think he kept the amulet even though he's uncomfortable with it.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think Tazin's been with it too long. He's not going to put it away. But
okay.
Yeah, Like his dagger's probably in there. He's got his limited ring of feather falling, and he's got his ring of invisibility on his left hand, and that's pretty much it. But he's also put most of the stuff in his bag in there.
Okay, so basically the one thing that you still get the like icky feeling from that you've gone ahead and put back on is the Amulet of the Plains, right?
Yeah.
And okay, so you've had it on, and you put it on, and you got like an uneasy feeling, and wearing it throughout like the morning and the midday, it was almost like that sort of like anxiety feeling you get where it feels like somebody's watching you, or something is just making you like generally uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
As you continue on throughout the day, and you're all traveling on the carpets, making your way towards the peak, it starts to like sink into the pit of your stomach, like making you a little bit queasy, and you start to just feel really like heavy and like anxious, like the senses that people have that like are self-preservation, like every time you hear a noise it makes you like kind of start, and like the hair is like sticking up on the back of your neck, and you just feel generally like uncomfortable and a little sick to your stomach. After about like 7 hours of traveling and sitting on this carpet, like first of all, like you're sitting, and so it's like not super comfortable to begin with, because you're starting to get like a little bit stiff. So then like just the general physical effects of like sitting for that long, and like you're trying to like shift and make yourself feel more comfortable, but it's really getting to the point where you're like, I might throw up. And I want you to make a Constitution save for me.
Okay.
Don't screw this up. Oh, yes.
A 9!
Big 9, big 9. Okay.
Yeah.
So you're on the back of the carpet with, or generally in the rough vicinity of Wampum. Lefkadio's in the front, kind of like steering the thing, keeping in pace with Kale and stuff. So Wampum, just with your passive perception, you're able to see as like the hours are going on, like Tazlin starts to like shift a lot at first, and like that's normal, like you're all doing that as you're like trying to keep your limbs from getting stiff while you're on the carpet. But then you can like just see on his face that sort of like feeling of someone who's starting to feel like queasy kind of thing, and like absentmindedly kind of like maybe resting his hand on like his stomach or something, and just looking generally like ugh. And then there's like, he starts to like look tired and maybe get like a little hunched at one point. You see him kind of like over the course of several hours starting to look, even for Tazlin, maybe like a little pale. But then there's like the flush around the cheeks of somebody who's like feverish kind of almost. And then you just kind of like see the shift of somebody who like goes from feeling generally bad to feeling really bad as this kind of like posture kind of like slumps a little bit. And he just generally look like he's having a really bad time.
With the perception, can I perceive that when he put that amulet on is what caused it?
Did you put that on in the morning, Tazlin?
Yeah, I think Tazlin would have just thrown it on as part of his regalia and just been like, eh. Okay.
So being around him and being a generally quite observant person, you have seen a progression throughout the day get worse, but that's not something that you'd be able to draw the conclusion of because he showed up without already on. If you wanted to make like a medicine check, whatever Wampum's instinct would be, like I don't know if he was like, he's got some arcane sickness to him, or if Wampum could just spend some time looking over him while he's starting to look sick to make a medicine check, whatever you think might be like his instinct.
I do have the ability for Know Thy Enemy.
Oh, what's that do?
Could I use that? Observing a individual over a minute, I can tell two of the following things: a strength score, dex score, con score, armor class, current hit points, total class levels, and fighter class levels. I'm wondering if I could use that to see if his constitution is starting to drop.
Okay. Let me go look at character sheet. So I guess actually you can tell him what your... So what's your con score, Tazlin?
It is a 17.
17. So Tazlin is a pretty, like, heartily constituted individual. Doesn't seem to get like normal sick very often. Like you've just never known him to be like frail, like you would maybe expect a wizard to be, especially as a fighter who might look at somebody who's like lived a more like intellectual life. You might think of them as not being very hardy individuals, but Taslin usually is. So it does strike you as odd. You don't necessarily sense like if you have the tendency to spend the time studying your friends in this way to kind of like gauge how they're doing, which I think is reasonable to assume. You don't necessarily gather that there's been like a change in his like level of constitution. His score doesn't seem to be dropping in like a mechanical sense at this juncture or anything like that. He just looks really ill.
I'm gonna call over to the other carpet and let Kale know that Taslin's starting to look pretty bad.
It's fine.
No, you're not. Shut up.
Okay. Let's stop. I guess this is before we made it to the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So this will be, if you're making a straight beeline, this will be. So from Loudwater, you heading in a straight line, there would be like an opportunity for a break around this juncture in the trees where the forest kind of like the tree line kind of sinks backwards in on itself and moves away from the river. Then you can all see the river to the north, but to your like left as you're traveling. And so you see that there's like a big dip coming up essentially in the tree line where it moves really far away, and there's like an open stretch of land there that you're already going to pass over, and that's about when this happens.
Okay, yeah, I will land my carpet and tell Lefcadio, hey, let's land and I'll take a look.
Okay. All right, so yeah, you land the carpets down here. This is like a riverbankish type that fades into a bit of like grassland before the forest. So you're able to see the sort of like moderately quick moving river, like the mountain source seems to be where it's fed. So it's flowing towards you and like back towards Loudwater, like just a tributary out to the ocean. Is that what they're called? Anyway, it's really quick moving. The land there seems to be like thick with like reeds and other like rivery type stuff, rivery type foliage. But the ground here, like further back from that, is again like kind of like dryish grassland. But you've got like a fair expanse of it. But there's not a whole lot like generally around you. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just listening. Yeah, okay, so we land and I look at Taslin. Would you prefer privacy for this? I'm not going to make you take your clothes off or anything, but just...
That sounds so creepy.
No, doctors usually want you to take your pants off for stuff, but...
I'm not sure what doctors you go to, but I'll spend a moment. I think Taslin has removed curse. He prepared that for today, and I should have just kept it on me at all times because, let's be honest, I'm the only one that touches curse stuff. But Taslin will reach up to the amulet and he'll cast remove curse.
Okay. I've never cast remove curse, so we put the spell in the
so
thing.
He does touch it.
Okay.
Let me link that over to here. At touch, all curses affecting one creature or object end. If the object is a cursed magic item, its curse remains, but the spell breaks its owner's attunement to the object, so it can be removed or discarded.
Okay. Okay. Magic item. So when you touch it, go ahead and make me another Constitution save at disadvantage.
All right, I will use one of my viewer inspiration to not make it at disadvantage.
Okay.
And it's a Constitution saving throw?
Mm-hmm.
A 20. Oh,
okay.
Yes.
So you touch it and your stomach cramps and there's this pressure, and you can feel like you're about to lose that wonderful breakfast. That breakfast that you picked at, actually. And you just kind of like will it back down, like swallow a couple of times,
Mm-hmm.
And you cast a spell, and you can feel that sort of like gut-wrenching, sick to your stomach feeling start to like wane a bit. And it doesn't seem as like present around you as it did before, but you still feel uneasy around the item.
Okay. Do I still feel attuned to it?
No.
Okay,
Because
so I'm
this
no
is
longer attuned to it.
Yeah, it's a magic item, so based on the wording of the thing, the curse remains, but the spell breaks its owner's attunement.
Okay. So I will unattune to that. That sucks. That's my favorite item. Tazlin will rub his eyes, and is there any place that looks comfortable? Like to like just lay down like some moss?
Yeah, so over by the river, because everything here is kind of like that short. I'm thinking of like Texas plains, where it's like short yellowish grass. It hasn't seen a lot of water, but the closer you get to the actual river itself, there's like thick, lush, soft grass. There is like a bit of a bank there with like the softer sort of soil. If you get in the water, there is moss, and it does kind of like reach up around the edge. But unless you wanted to get like actually wet, then there's just like a soft bank with like that sort of like thick grass that hangs down over the edge into the water.
Yeah, I think he'll like take off his shoes and he'll put his feet in the water, and I'm just gonna sit there for a while.
Okay. Yeah, the water is nice and cool to the touch. Just after casting that on yourself, you already are starting to feel better. You said you put it away, the item?
I think he's still holding it.
Okay, so you're holding
Well, he's
on.
not attuned to it, so it shouldn't be too much of a risk.
Yeah.
I think Taslin's greedy enough that he wouldn't part with it, but...
yeah, that's fair. I'm just like painting.
Yeah, so I think he like puts it in the inner robe pockets of his robes next to Iskar, who's probably still a bat, just chilling out in there.
Yeah, and hanging in the pocket kind of thing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And he'll just stow it away.
Yeah. And like if you've ever taken like medication that helps with like stomach sickness and stuff like that, like Dramamine or Finnegan or something like that, then like as the like queasiness starts to fade and like the color starts to return to your cheeks and like the cool water, like everything just starts to feel generally better. So like what are you all doing while you're like watching Tazlin just like, nah, I got it.
Yeah,
and just like walk away?
Yeah, we stopped and we got off the carpets, and Tazlin just like took the amulet off and clearly cast Remove Curse, because I've cast that before, even though it's a little different when I do it. And then just kind of walked away. That's basically how that happened.
Yep. And it looked like when he reached up to cast the spell and he like touched it, it looked like he was about to throw up. Like it was like that wrench to the body of like when everything like contracts, and then like you see him just kind of like, no.
Okay.
And
then Kale's obviously gonna like just follow right next to him and be like, so the amulet's cursed then now.
I'm also right behind Kale, looking very angry.
Yes, it seems that way. And the robes.
And the robes that you tried to pawn off on somebody else.
Yeah.
Okay. It sounds like you already know that was wrong.
Yep.
Great.
Just didn't want them near me.
Well, you still have them, both those items on you right now, right?
Well, currently one of them is in a interdimensional pocket.
Sure. Well, Tazlin, I'm not trying to make any sort of comment about your character or your mental fortitude when it comes to dealing with cursed items, but this is something that's been an issue before, and I would just like to ask if you could give me or literally anybody else, except maybe Lafcadio, possession of the cursed items, just so we can, sequester them, so we don't have to have any more problems. That would be great.
Wampum will walk over and do the
the gimme.
the gimme thing.
Sure.
We're not trying to hurt you, not trying to admonish you or
it.
anything. I'm just okay.
Oh, Nos, I'd forgotten to tell you. Last night, Shar cursed me.
You understand why that makes me pretty mad, right?
Yes, and you do understand that I didn't expect to be cursed.
Not that you didn't tell us. Tell me when that happened.
You happened to be unconscious sleeping.
Wake me the fuck up.
I told Kale.
Great, so both of you knew for like a day without telling the rest of your people. What are we to you?
I didn't think it was my place to talk about his business that way. He's a very private person. I thought I'd remove the curse. He seemed fine. I figured we could move on, but...
And to be honest, I didn't really have enough time while I was trying to stave off Shar's influence to send everyone, hey, help me, I've been cursed by a goddess, and I'm currently running.
I'm not going to listen to your excuses. You could have told us at breakfast.
I wasn't at breakfast.
You were there after breakfast.
Hey, how about you hand over those items before we...
And Wampum is still doing the...
Taslim will give the amulet to Wampum. And he'll give Nos the robes.
What else would you have been wearing on your person? Like any right hand trinkets, anything on like a belt or any pockets around that area? Because
he has a music box that plays by itself, which would have been in the bag of holding. I'm not sure if the bag of holding is on his left or right hand side, but that's where it was stowed.
Is he left or right handed?
I think he's left. I don't know. I've never decided. I feel like it's biased now, so I should probably roll a dice.
Okay.
So we'll go evens are...
For the record, I kind of agree with the left-handed thing. He seems like a left-handed person. Huh? Just, I don't know why.
I'm biased because I'm left-handed.
He has swings on his left hand, but...
Or that would be... Yeah. See, to me, you would put the rings in your left hand because you're right-handed to keep this hand like free of stuff. But I also hate rings, so it would get in my way, and so I would not want them on that hand. But yeah, I like the idea of rolling for it.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm ambidextrous, so in real life, so I can make a decision. So we'll do evens are left, odds are right.
Okay.
Okay, so he's right-handed.
Okay, so if he's right-handed, the bag would have been strapped over your left side so that it would sit on your right side and you could reach into it easily. So the like top of the strap would have started to be like infected or whatever, like spread to. But since it started on your right side, which would make sense because that's the hand that you would have reached out with to cast the spell, then the bag itself is fine. It's more like anything that you were wearing because it was spreading across your body.
Yeah. So, his spellbook was probably in the bag of holding, but what he would have had is he would have had his quarterstaff, he would have had his dagger +1, he would have had his on his belt. I don't think he has much else on him. That usually everything goes in the bag of holding that he's not using. But the dagger, the Piwafi would have been in the bag because he can't wear that in sunlight, so he always keeps it there. But the robes, the amulet of the plains, his sending stone, I think, was in his robe pocket. I don't really...
You took it out to use it.
Yeah,
so I say
I cast sending, I think. I don't think I did. I don't remember if I used... I might have used the stone.
I feel like it was a stone, so I think you would have probably instinctively reached for it with your left hand, so that would have been in the other hand. So the two items, so it's the amulet, the robes, the quarterstaff, and the dagger.
Yep.
Are the quarterstaff and the dagger magical?
The dagger
Plus
is a +1 dagger, so it is magical, but the quarterstaff's just a hunk of wood.
Okay. So the quarterstaff, you could easily remove curse on. You could also cast it on the dagger, and it would although it's a magical item and that would remain because you don't have to attune to the dagger, it might make you feel a little icky sometimes, but that's not going to, you're not attuned to it.
Yeah.
So
and then I do have my 2 wands, but they're usually in the robes. So one of them does not require attunement, the other one also does not require attunement. Now I remember why I took those.
Yeah. Also, I think that your wands would be on your left side, because if you're right-handed,
because you're going to reach in the left, yeah.
Yeah. So those are fine. Because it doesn't make sense to reach down like this and have to pull out.
Yeah.
You do across your body.
But that is pretty much everything he has.
Okay. So, so the robe, you would, it still actively feels gross. And when he passes that over to you, Nas, you're a strongly constituted individual, but you are, you trust your instincts, and this is not good. There's something really gross about this. Hard to say what it is. It feels not good.
You need to keep this.
I don't need to keep it.
Are you going to be alright with it if I tear it up?
I hope you can. I don't know if it'll work, but...
Can I roll an Arcana check? Is there a way, well, I mean, I guess I wouldn't know this, but, if there's any way that I know of removing a curse permanently from an item.
Roll an Arcana check.
It's probably super hard.
Yeah. 26, though.
Ooh. You know that with, the spells and this might be DM not necessarily knowing too. We can look into it more later, and maybe Taslin will have a stroke of inspiration because that's a really high roll. With the spell you have at your disposal currently, now the magic item stays cursed, but it does break any attunement, so you don't end up the. You know that there are paladins who have an ability to cleanse people with a touch, which might be something that could help. It's known to do things like get rid of curses and such. You know that this is kind of a cleric-y thing to do. So I don't know, maybe I've never played a high-level cleric. Maybe Vinny Happensoft know of any high-level remove cursey type stuff that you guys can do?
No, I think it actually specifies in the player's handbook, or not the Dungeon Master's Guide, that removing curses from magic items, removing the curse from the item itself, can be, it's something you can use as a campaign hook, basically, because it's supposed to be a good thing to do.
Yeah. So knowing that, in general, you know that this is something that's really difficult to do, and sometimes can require action on the part of several parties in order to try to accomplish. Other than thinking off the hand of these paladins that have been known to have cleansing touches, although as you're thinking about it, it is kind of more about the individual than an item, but it's still necessary. It's something that comes to mind that could be useful information. Maybe it would take several of them and the petitioning a god or something along those lines. So it would be a lot of work. Potentially.
So, Kale has an idea, but before he says anything about it, he'll, Nos asked if she could rip it up.
Yeah.
So, let's see.
You would know, also, sorry, go ahead. What are you going to say?
I'm just going to let's see if that works first. Is how Kale feels.
Yeah, and then also Salinae was meet me at the Moonlight.
Yeah. You also know, based on that Arcana check, that magic items can't just be, ripped up. You know that, Taslin. So whether or not you choose to share that is totally up to you. But you know that there's no circumstance in which Nos is just going to be able to rip this in half.
Yeah. I think Taslin's had a pretty rough few days, so I don't think he's in a joking mood. So he's not going to lie to her. I don't think you're going to be able to rip that up, Nos. I mean, I don't doubt that you're strong, but it's just not going to happen.
You should let her try first.
I mean, go ahead and try, I suppose. I'm just gonna sit here for a while.
Okay.
It sounds like it's going to be difficult to do, so I'm actually going to use my glaive.
Okay.
I'm going to just stick my glaive with the little blade into the ground and then drag the rope over the glaive.
Okay. So you're like sticking the wait, does it have a blade on both ends?
Yeah.
Okay. So you kind of like shove it deeply into the ground with the smaller bladed end, and you feel like it's in there pretty secure, so that you would be able to pull this over it and try to like rip through it. Go ahead and make an athletics check for me. I figure like you're angry enough and motivated enough, and you've like prepped for this, that you'd be able to roll with advantage.
It's a 20.
Okay. So you get this all set up, and you kind of like drape the robe over the glaive, bleh, and you just like yank down, trying to get it to pierce this. Like, this is made out of like almost like a satin looking material. It's beautiful, it's delicate looking. There's this like ethereal, like elven sort of quality to it. The colors are like shining in the light a little bit, although it does seem like it's duller than it was before, and it's still giving you that like gross feeling as you're touching it. And you yank with all your might, and by all rights, this should shred to pieces. The glaive should pierce it. It should rip it in half. You should be able to, with your bare hands, just pull this apart. And somehow this like beautiful, light, satinish looking fabric is just not giving way to your glaive, which is bizarre to you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I accept it.
Yeah.
Hasn't said something along those lines.
Mm-hmm.
I tried. I guess the second best thing is, anyone have anything to contain it? I don't know what it does or what it is, but my concern is that we can be watched through it.
Why don't we just bury him right here?
Well, I'm concerned that it'll take the land then. I thought about that too.
Yeah, it might take the land, or somebody might come and get it.
We need to like burn it or something, but not with normal fire. Yeah, I know.
Let me ask somebody real quick. Kale begin to cast a sending spell.
Listen, Kale, I don't think it's gonna. Oh, never mind.
While you're asking, let me find out if Moradin's will is powerful enough to break this enchantment.
I really hope it's not like the scene in Lord of the Rings where Gimli's axe just shatters.
Okay.
Before Wampum, before you do that, I do want to warn you, this device teleports us to almost every plane of existence. What do you think would happen if you were to break it? We could be sucked through a unstable portal, ripped apart. Is that really what you want to do?
I don't know.
Well, if you do it, I'm going to move over there.
Probably that'd be wise.
And there are a couple of like sturdy looking sort of like the sort of rocks you find on like the bank of a river, where it's like the big like slick, almost kind of like slimy like stones that are there. But there's one big enough that you'd be able to like set this on if you want to swing at it. What are you doing during all this, Lefcadio?
I'd probably say something to the effect of like, I can't believe this guy was keeping secrets from us. The nerve.
You've been gone for a year, and you come back, and first day, everything's going to hell, and people are fighting.
But that's it. Yeah, I'm fine with them handling it. And,
Okay.
you know, I'm checking the carpet, making sure the tassels are all nice.
Okay. So what's your plan, Wampum?
I'm waiting to get approval from Kale.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so Kale was gonna send somebody first. Good thing you're waiting. So he's going to send somebody from his backstory, a friend of his who is a Gonsman and a master of artifice back at Fort Tamal.
A Donsman?
Gonsman, adherent of Gond.
Oh, Gond. Okay, gotcha,
Yeah,
gotcha.
Yeah, an artifice guy. He's a middle-aged dwarf gentleman named Rangrim True Anvil. And he's like the head of masonry and blacksmithing and engineering at Fort Tamal. So he'll send him and say, "Hey, Rangrim, still alive. Quick question. Have some cursed magic items. Any ideas?"
Okay. So it's late in the evening right now. It's not like super late. This is a normal time for people to be awake. Let's see here. I'm just reading a bit about Gond. Ah, okay. Lord of all the Smiths. Nice. So when you say he's a Gondsman, do you mean he's like a devout follower?
Yeah,
artificer?
He's like a cleric, a forge cleric.
Oh, a forge cleric. Sorry. I heard artificer, and I thought you meant
of course, yeah. Like
Okay.
an actual, yeah.
Like an actual artificer.
No,
okay.
I added my backstory before that was actually an official class.
Nice. Okay. Let's see here. Imposing bucksies from structures, clearance of Gond, had a unique dress, or saffron robes. Okay. My house wonders and Baldur's Gate and scenes with the Great Museum. So you get a response. What is your relationship with Gond like? He's like an old friend.
With Rangrim?
Raingrim, sorry. Raingrim.
Yeah. He was. He's known Kale since Kale was like a little kid. Rangrim's been at the fort for a really long time. He's a dwarf, so they don't age fast.
Yeah.
So yeah, they've known each other for a long time.
Like, not surrogate father, but definitely like that kind of you were a child, and so he's watched you grown up, sort of like familiarity.
He's kind of like an uncle, I guess.
Yeah. Okay.
So just to basically the thing is like he can't leave the fort, but he wants like all new schematics and stuff. So people like Kale or other people that kind of lived at the fort but traveled a lot would bring him back schematics and stuff that he could look at and mess with.
Okay.
So yeah.
Okay. So you get a response, and it's something. Let's see here. He says, "Glad you're well. Avoid Mistra. Seek Gond. Maybe Hall of Wonders in Baldur's Gate."
So out of the way. Okay.
Might take materials, may take offering. Will certainly be a task.
Really don't want to go to Baldur's Gate, but okay, that's fine. Just go stupid Baldur's Gate, I guess. All right, Kale doesn't respond because I don't want to use another 3rd level spell slot, but that sounds good. So let me write that down. Oh, I don't know where my pen is. Someone will remember. Baldur's Gate offerings. He said, "Void." Mistra.
And as a holy person, and somebody who knows him well, you know that the Church of Gond and Mistra are often at odds, and there's like distrust there. So that might be sage advice, and it might just be his personal like, don't ask the mages for help type of thing, you know?
Yeah. I trust him. I know Daenerys people and Gone people were like buddies, kind of. So. I think that's kind of relationship Kale would have with him and be like, yeah, whatever he says, he knows what's up. Okay, so Kale comes out of that, and he sees Wampum standing there with a hammer in one hand and an amulet of the plains in the other. And he goes, "Don't do that. Whatever you're about to do, don't do that. That seems like a terrible plan." just hold on to it for now. Don't try to call out to it, reach out to it. You've attuned to items before, like magically with your essence, your spiritual essence, or however attunement exactly works for you. Don't do that with that. Just hold on to it. My contact said that it'd probably best to take these items to the Hall of Wonders in Baldur's Gate. Super out of the way.
And anyways, we have a larger goal. Anyways, that can wait.
So, I mean, how far away are we from Fort Tamal? There's people I trust there.
Where is Fort Tamal?
It is by the Borskier Bridge.
North of Baldur's Gate.
Yeah, north of Baldur's Gate. It's near El Terrell. It's northeast of Baldur's Gate.
That is. The map's taken a hot minute to get sorted.
It's like 315 miles, it looks like. Well, from Loudwater, but we're like...
If we get back to the teleportation network, then surely from one of those places we can get to Baldur's Gate. And then from Baldur's Gate, we can take the river to the Dragon Coast, potentially. So we could still... It may not be out of the way.
Well, we still have to go back to Loudwater and then to Baldur's Gate and then back up here. And...
No. I'm talking. We do what we're doing now first, and then on our way back.
Okay.
That's how we'd go.
Yes, and yeah, even if we can be watched during the day, I don't know. Well, we're in the temple. Nobody can divine us.
Okay.
So we'll have that at least. Sound good, everybody?
Anyone got like a jar in the meantime or anything?
Well, if we have 2 bags of holding, we could kind of empty one. So, put all those items into one, and then these 2 items into a single bag. So there's no other items with it.
I don't have a better idea than that.
We could. I feel like I kind of need my bag of holding a little bit more because I got a lot of important reagents in there that I need quick access to if I need to revive somebody or, do a lot of things. There's a lot of things that I do with.
Does your bag have enough space for the items that are in this one?
Sure. Because I'm not going to do the math to calculate out how many pounds of shit are in this bag.
It's like 500 square feet worth of items rather than pounds, I think. Do you think you could possibly have that much space in there?
64 cubic feet or 500 pounds.
Oh, that's what 500 is. Just kidding.
Yeah, I knew there was a 500 in there somewhere, but yeah. I don't think I have that much shit in there.
I mean, calculating all of the weight of our platinum pieces, we probably are so significantly over.
That's true, yeah. I got 3,800 gold and 800 platinum.
Early dragons.
Your bags are pretty full.
Yeah, I got a lot.
We need a bank. Like,
we do need a bank.
So many months ago.
I mean, we've got a house instead.
I should have just left our stuff elsewhere, but coulda, shoulda, woulda.
I love the idea of you all just like pouring out your gold into Taslin's basement, and like somebody breaks in and just Scrooge McDuck, yeah, like. Anyway, continue.
And then they get enervated as soon as Tasman finds out and turned inside out.
And then it's a free guard.
Right.
Like, it's kind of the point. Just lure really bad thieves in, then make them undead servants.
You like this gold a lot, huh?
Why don't you stay a while?
Okay, so...
Like forever.
Kill just at this point.
Wampum will just put the amulet in his bag.
Okay, yeah. He'll just say, look, we don't have room. The bags of holding. We're just going to have to hold on to them for now. But why don't we just stop here? We're already stopped. I'll throw up the temple and we can just relax and maybe people will come up with new ideas.
Yeah.
Overnight.
as you're having this conversation, it does occur to you, like, you cast Remove Curse on him when this was all happening. You saw everything kind of fade away. He was wearing other things. Other things have been nearby these items, and it doesn't seem like it's like continuing to spread. It feels like, based on what you've noticed, Kale, that the spread was halted with your spell, and these are just items that like they were too far gone, basically, at that time. They were already impacted, and so like he has items that he was wearing at the time that are still fine.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, the idea of it spreading isn't, like, super likely, or at least it seems like that's not going to, like, track with what you've already seen.
Right. No, I get what you're getting at.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Kale would be pretty paranoid about it, at least for now.
Yeah, no, that's fair. That's just something that comes to your mind.
Yes, thank you.
What phase of the moon is it tonight?
So you said that we were in fall, right? No. What season are we in?
So,
Somebody knew.
Late autumn at this point, yeah.
It is late autumn. Okay, it's late autumn.
Harvest moon.
Harvest moon. Autumn moon cycles.
And I'll make the temple with a skylight,
Okay,
so the moonlight can go inside.
I know.
makes sense. Okay, for autumn run, 11th of December through blah blah blah.
You know how a saloon recruits new followers? It's not just a phase.
It's not just a I love it. Okay, let's see here.
Phase.
It's no phase, Mom. So if it's late autumn, you are probably... Roll me a percentile die, because we don't know what actual day it is, do we? Like, so I don't know if one of you are keeping track of that, you know? I'm not...
I imagine Kale would probably know. He's super smart.
52.
52. Late autumn, I would say you're roughly around like third quarter-ish. The next full moon is probably going to be in like a week or so. Maybe like 10 days-ish. But it's like, it's on the like, not waning, waxing. It's on the waxing end, third quarter. You're heading into it.
Okay, that's all I had to ask.
Okay.
Yeah,
So anybody doing anything in particular while Kale spends an hour setting up the temple? Doesn't have to be? No? Okay. So you'll sit quietly or mill about doing your own thing for about an hour. The temple goes up. It's got a big skylight. It's near the river and the trees. It's kind of like a nice area. Feels good, you know? And you're able to go in, take an evening's rest. Anything anyone wants to do before they, like, go to bed? It is late. It would be, you know, this is a good time to go to sleep.
Yeah.
Should we leave the cursed items outside?
No, definitely not. Bring them in. They'll be much more secure in here because I have a couple notes for the DM about Temple of the Gods. In case you, I mean, do you know how it works, or should I lay a couple things out for you?
I have been around when it has been cast before.
Okay.
But we had a very specific purpose for having it, being that we were surrounded by undead. So
So you know about
what are your...
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So the types of creatures that have trouble getting in are elementals, fae, fiends, and undead.
Mm-hmm.
You know, divination spells can't appear inside it. Whenever somebody regains hit points in the temple, they get more. And it blocks ethereal travel because it's made out of magic. And that's pretty much it. Oh, the only people that can open the door are the 5 of us.
Okay. Safe zone. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. What were you going to say, Tasla?
Oh, since Tasman only needs to go for a 4-hour reverie, he's in that little moon panel thing, he's just gonna do his reverie there.
Okay. Under the skylight?
Yeah.
Okay. Perfect.
And as he's walking into the door, he's his cloak pulls back because Iskar's hanging in there. Iskar can't come in.
Oh yeah, because Iskar's a fag. Oh yeah. Well, I guess Iskar poof. Ta-da.
See you again in a little bit, buddy.
Yeah, next time I'm gonna make you a crab.
Crap. Oh gosh. Okay. Go ahead.
A couple other things.
Okay.
Kale would like to, at some point after it gets set up, first cast divination. He gets out like a thing and he like a little piece of parchment and he lights it on fire and lights some incense and sits there and meditates for 10 minutes to divine a question to Denier. And the question that he asks is, do you need me to post it for you to read how to respond, or do you know how it works?
Yeah, no, post it just in case. Because I think this is the one where you get like a question and the god or the servant can answer.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he will ask, will our mission to the Great Peak Mountains be particularly dangerous?
Short phrase, cryptic, and omens, spells, and take into account possible circumstances that could change the outcome, blah, blah, blah.
I guess I'll remove.
Okay. So, oh yeah, it does cost 25 gold. That's funny. So, you're sitting and you're offering up your prayers, completing your ritual, and you ask if this trip's going to be dangerous. And you get there's like an image that kind of like drifts into your mind, and it feels like it's naturally just like you kind of thinking about things. There's like a dark night and the sun rises up over a peak of mountains, not a distinguishable one that like is recognizable to you, certainly not necessarily where you're going. And as the first like rays of light kind of like wash over everything and the sky starts to turn purple and then lighter shades of blue, there's like a flash that causes like a shockwave that comes out. It almost like what like Vinny knows to be like what in like Hollywood they depict like maybe like a large bomb, like an atomic bomb or something. It's just like this massive bright light, and you see like this wave kind of like go out and it like starts to consume things. And what you hear as you're kind of like considering this image and it starts to occur to you that this is like a natural thought that you're having. Seek knowledge, seek the light, but beware the fire.
So kinda. Okay. So Kale opens his eyes from that, and he sits quietly for a moment, thinks about it, and then he's like, I'll think about that some more later. And he gets up and I imagine he would, because the temple's kind of a big open space. It has to be, because that's the way the spell is worded on the inside. So he would see Tazlin chilling in the moonlight, and he would probably kind of walk up close to him and say, sorry about last night. I had kind of a day. I shouldn't, berate you for the way that or for the beliefs that you've held in the past, and even the reason that you hold the beliefs you might hold now. It doesn't matter. You are a intelligent, free-thinking, sentient being, and you should be encouraged to believe in whatever it is that you wish to believe. And I think that we all have choices that we're allowed to make, whether you have realized it or not yet. But I encourage you to follow follow your spirit wherever it might take you and however it might make you feel.
I'm going to reach over for where I'm sitting and pat right next to me, making a motion for him to sit down.
All right. Caleb goes and sits down. It's definitely, obviously kind of tense about it, but...
I accept your apology, and I hope that you accept my own. I may have said some things and not given you the politeness and the respect you deserve for helping. It was not my goal that night to hamper or make things more trying for our group. I was simply researching to alleviate some of the variables in our constant just barely getting there in the nick of time to prevent Shar from, well, you know. I shouldn't have acted the way I did, and I know the Feywild was most likely very tough for you. I know that family isn't always the best, and that they can let you down, and they cannot be there for you, and that you don't get to choose who your family is, but you get to choose your family after your family, if that makes sense. You get to choose your friends, and you get to choose the people that you'll be with and journey with and live with for the rest of your life, no matter how long that is. And that's what really matters, are the ones you choose for yourself, not the ones that by chance of fate or place of birth are decided for you. And I know that your mother most likely didn't say it, but I think that she loves you and that she's proud of what you've done.
So, when Tazit says that last part, Kale just kind of, like, he makes a face. Right? He's just kind of like... And it looks like he's about to say something, and then he stops and says, "Thank you. I appreciate the advice. I'll definitely take it seriously as it's coming from someone who's very old and will probably live for a very long time. If I could offer a little bit of advice myself as a person of faith, I know it might be, despite your age, maybe new ground for you to tread, but this isn't the sort of thing that you can research your way through. If you try and do that, you won't really be able to understand faith. It's something that it's a knowledge without knowing. It's just something you have to, I guess intuit would be the right word, but even that has kind of a clinical tinge to it that doesn't do it justice. But anyway, yes, just thanks. And he'll just like hold out a hand.
I'll take the hand, I'll shake it.
He'll shake kind of, you know.
Yeah, like one of those stiff handshakes, yeah.
Yeah. And he'll get up and he'll say, "I definitely think about what you said." And he'll look around and he'll kind of linger a little bit longer on wherever Nos is at, and then kind of shake his head and then walk away to go somewhere else to be by himself.
So are there no walls other than the outside walls? It's like a big open space.
I like to think that I can make it so you can't make like rooms. It has to be an open space. But there's a lot of people where I work that have cubicles where they put up walls in some feeble attempt to make themselves have some sort of privacy in a cubicle farm, and that's not possible, but it makes them feel kind of better. So I like to imagine that there's those where they're like kind of like, I don't know, like 8 feet high, but they don't go up to the ceiling, so it's not really a room.
Well,
but
could they have like confession boxes? Like, you know, like the...
Maybe, yeah, that's possible.
Because those are like rooms, but they're not really rooms, they're furniture.
I was thinking like room dividers, like the room separators, like privacy screens, basically.
Kind of, yeah. I was thinking, like cubbies, kind of. Everybody can get their own little space.
Okay. I think that it'd be easy enough to divvy up some, like, everyone gets their own little cubby kind of thing. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So you can have, like, a quiet place of, like, perceived solitude where everyone's eyes aren't on you, kind of.
Yep. That goes into his.
Anyone else doing anything before you go to sleep? You don't have to. Just giving you the opportunity. Okay. Cool.
Oh, I'll attune to my Piwafui.
To your what?
My Piwafui.
Piwafui?
I don't know how it's pronounced.
I don't know what it is.
It's basically a drow-made cloak of fire resistance that we got from Jarl Axel, I think.
Oh, can you spell it for me?
Piwafwi. Piwafwi.
I think the item in D&D Beyond is a little different. It's basically like a cloak of elven kind.
Yeah.
Piwafwi. That does sound, yeah. Alright. Yeah, well, the thing. That thing.
Yeah.
That cloak.
Okay, sounds good. Kale didn't share his vision, so is this just something that he would be doing, like, offhandedly because he had to give up his normal clothes and you've got some dragon stuff on? You're like, man, I guess I'll put this cloak on.
Yeah. I mean, Kazlin knows that it can't go in sunlight, so he's, like, tucking it underneath his robe, so no one can see that he's wearing it.
Okay.
It's probably uncomfortable.
Yeah, a little bit. Because robes are, like, a dress. Like a long tunic. Yeah. So you've got like a cloak tucked under your clothes, basically. That's fine though. It's like poofed skirts, basically.
Yeah.
I think that's where we'll call it on another night's rest. Everyone will wake up in the morning the next time we play. Thank you everyone for hanging out with us in chat. Thank you everybody for playing. This was a lot of fun. I like this diversion. Not diversion. This like what is the word I'm thinking of? Anyway. The way things happen has been really pleasant. I've enjoyed it. I'm Katie Quixotic. I'm DMing, kind of. I try to know what I'm doing. I don't always. I rarely do, actually. So I'm just, whatever. I'm here. And I'll let everyone introduce themselves and talk about what they liked.
Hi, I'm Carl. I played Lefcadia Whitehorn. You can find me here for this game at this time, as per usual. You can also find me Friday nights on Save Rick's channel. Where we are playing in a Planescape game and having fun in Sigil. That's 7 o'clock Central, 8 o'clock Eastern. I like making some rhymes today. That was fun for me.
Vinny, Epicale, the Cleric, the Domain of Denier. Anyway, I'm on social media somewhere. Don't worry about it. Don't even think about it. I shouldn't even bring it up. Don't at me. Or do. I don't really give a fuck. I really liked also the same thing that Carl said. I really liked that. He brought that up during the break here before we came back. He's like, hey, by the way, Lefcadio came up with some rhymes, some sick rhymes. I'm pretty sure that's exactly how you said it, Carl. Is that right? Yeah, he's agreeing. So he was like, I don't know if it's going to come up. And I'm like, it's definitely going to come up now. Like, obviously, we got to get that out there for the world. So I really enjoyed doing that. That was fun. And yeah. Next is Casey.
That's me. I'm Casey. KCH on the socials. I've been the champion of Timora and Pale of the Plains, Heckler, Big Fire Chicken, She Who Fights Storm, Slayer of Shadows, Nos, the boss of Neverwinter. Hey, yay! You can also find me with Carl Friday nights over on Savik's channel, 7 p.m. CST, 8 Eastern, doing the sigil stuffs. And I had a couple of favorite parts, amongst which I will say, Katie, I always enjoy it when you're playing Wampum's mom. You do such a good job. Love the part with the you're not eating enough thing, and the way that you actually played out, looking around the corner when we were shouting back at her and stuff. That was also amazing. And of course I liked the bit at the end where Kale and Tazlin had their conversation, and then at the end, Kale kind of made a passing glance at Nos before retiring. That was neat. I'm done.
Hey guys, I'm John. I am Dwarf of Marabar, Master of the Axe, Enemy of the Drow, Traveler of the Plains, Destroyer of Shadows, Deliverer of Certain Death. I am the Wampum Thunderbelly of the Selenar. I really enjoyed Tazlin coming under the influence of all his cursed items. And
My great shame.
yeah. And us having a intervention moment where we had to get him off the drugs and take the drugs away from him. So I enjoyed that. What you think, Carl? I'm sorry, Tazlin. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's been a long time coming. I think I'm like, well, if we count these, I think that's 5 cursed items I've had. But I'm Graham, or Graham Crackers, or pretty cool dude that plays Tazlin Evrio on Half Rate Heroes every Saturday from 11 to 2. You can find me on the O4A Discord, or you can find me here on Saturdays, or you can probably find me on Twitter if you're really good at sleuthing and you roll a really high perception check. But besides that, I stream on the Tales of Valeria channel every Friday from 8 to 10:30. And my favorite part was, there were so many. Probably Kale and his need to repair every library. I think Loki, I'm like, yeah, I expected this. Should have seen that coming. He's like, we can't leave until we repair this. So that was my favorite part, is just him thaumaturgying, hey, anyone want a job?
That was really great. Yeah. For the record, I did not know about Tazlin's history with cursed items. I am not trying to paint a picture of Tazlin in any particular way. I do like the idea of the intervention, though. Yeah, I think I always go last, but then I end up just like parodying everything that everybody said. But yeah, I think the interaction, like there were so many good moments, and the rhymes, of course, got me. But the interaction at the end, where they're like, in that very like, I'm not usually someone who makes enduring friendships, and I'm kind of like admitting that to each other. We're like found family. Fine. Okay. Shake and go. Like, that's just great. I kind of don't like it, and you kind of don't like me, but we love each other. Cool. All right, bye. Get out of face.
Good talk. Good talk.
Yeah, that's so great. I also love the image of Wampum like Gimliing the amulet, even though that wasn't what happened. The idea that could happen was also pretty great. Anyway, yeah, so we're Half Rate Heroes. You can find me everywhere as Cake Exotic. They're all awesome. You should pay attention to everybody else more, because they're cool. Yeah, and we're going to raid somebody. Who are we going to raid?
It looks like friend DM Coltrane is streaming. He has been streaming for a while, so he might not be streaming for much longer. But we will hop in the channel and give him a warm hello and goodbye.
Yeah, sounds good. He's a lot of fun. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
we are on the credits.